And welcome everybody to the Four Tales podcast. I am your host, Kyron Silva, along with the purple-clad warrior, Danny J. Quick. How you doing
It's
today?
your boy in the building, Danny J. Quick. You know me, man. I'm always got some purple somewhere, whether you can see it or not.
Well, I mean, if you do happen to go onto our Patreon and become a Patreon subscriber with the video feed, you will notice that Danny's entire back wall is covered in purple, just like Ace Blade. So if you want to see some behind the scenes things, go on to our patreon.com / Four Tales podcast and join up, see what all the fun's about. But why you are here today is not for Danny's lovely wall. It is to find some of the amazing, the greatest, the best comic book creators in the world. And you know what? That's what we're here for every week. You know, we want to bring you new things. We want to bring you fun and exciting things, but we do have some things from last week we need to go over. So first thing we want to go over is these poll results. And again, for a second week in a row, my poll choice has lost to Danny's. I can't believe this, but somehow Donatello was named the best Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. And it wasn't really close again.
Because it's facts, man. It's facts.
I'm disappointed in the people out there. So, like I said last week, if you didn't vote for Leonardo, please stop listening to this podcast. We don't want
Leonardo is the worst Ninja Turtle, bro. We're not gonna argue before we bring our esteemed guest on, but Leonardo is the blandest Ninja Turtle there is. So why would he be the best in any case? Like, he's just the standard. He's just like, I have to be here so that the rest of the turtles can be great.
Because he's the leader. He follows them because they know he's the best. Yeah, okay. He does everything by the book, but he is the best.
Ask Raphael if he's the best.
At the end of the day, Raphael still listens to him, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. All right.
All right. So let me ask you then, because I asked for your help on this one. Did you come up with another poll for next week?
I wanna do something with Loki. I figure since Loki is coming up, we should do something with Loki. Have you seen the first issue yet? Before I spoil anything.
The episode, yeah, I saw it.
First episode, yeah. Okay. But we should ask, do people think Loki's gonna last this whole season? Because I think it might be the farewell of this version of Loki anyway. So I think we should ask if people think he'll make it through a whole season. Something simple.
So are we talking about like the comics version where Loki gets reincarnated as a young teen, or
I'm thinking
completely?
Or, would be even better if we ask what iteration of Loki we think we'll have at the end, because we could have Lady Loki would be cool. I think it's going to be Lady Loki. We got preteen Loki, and there's a couple of versions of Loki that could come out of this. So,
all right, well, that's going to be our poll for this week, you guys. So if you want to go onto our Twitter page after you hear this episode, and the poll will be: will Loki survive the full season of his miniseries on Disney Plus? Are we going to get sued for saying Disney Plus or Loki?
I guess we'll see.
All right.
You're paying for it, so it doesn't matter to me.
I pay for everything, don't I?
Yeah. That was the deal. That was the contract I signed.
I got to review that contract. All right. Well, enough with that. Then let's get into why most people are here, and that's for our esteemed guest. I'm excited about this guy because you know what? This is I don't even know how to say it. He's so renowned. Everybody knows him. Everybody loves him. He is the founder of Freestyle Comics, one half of the good, the bad, the nerdy, aka the Super Mad Brother, and the most enthusiastic person in comics. The host of Chat and Draw, Michael Watson.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Watson in the building.
What's up? How you doing?
All right. Did I do that okay? Like, was that perfect? I mean, I know I'm off, but I want to make sure I got that intro dressed right for you.
Hey, I feel good. I feel like the carpet was laid down. I feel like the roses were thrown up into the air.
There you go.
Feel like I was done right.
All right. Well, thanks for having. Wow, let's start that over again. Thank you for being on. It's been a long 48 hours, everybody. It's been a long 48 hours. But thank you for coming on to our show. And I know we're here to talk about your Kickstarter, which is doing fantastic right now, the Hot Shot Collection, right?
Yeah.
But we want to talk about other things besides that before we get into Hot Shot. So, um, first thing, what comic did you read this week that wasn't Hot Shot? And specifically, if you haven't listened to our podcast before, Danny and I have advocated for people to start reading comics on the toilet instead of taking your phone in there. So if you took a comic into the bathroom with you, what comic did you read this week?
Well, I got a couple books in of Kickstarter. So I got Voyage.
Okay.
Got this guy in.
That was nice.
And then I got my copy of They Call Her the Dancer.
Oh, I just
Okay,
got
there you
mine
go.
too.
There you go.
I just got mine too.
Oh yeah.
That's
This
that's my read for this week. I'll definitely be reading that one this week.
Yeah, it got upgraded with the colors. The glossy cover and stuff like that. So this is actually my favorite book that Kat does. Kat does a few different books, and that's my favorite one she does. And that's what I had to read this week. If those just came in actually a couple days ago. And then of course I read my My Hero Academia latest
There you
issue.
go.
Nice. What are they up to? What are they up to now? Like 24, 25?
300.
Wait, what? Huh? I'm
Grand
confused.
volumes? Or
Yeah, I'm reading the manga.
They
okay.
got hey, I need to catch up because I'm watching the anime, but I don't want to read too far ahead. My daughter reads all the manga, but I don't want to get too far ahead because I really like the anime. So
I ain't got no problem with that. The cartoon take too long to come out. I'm all in.
Wait, Danny, aren't you like Team Spoiler and all that anyways?
I am, but I like it so much that I'm willing to wait for this one.
He's all like, I'm Team Spoiler asterisk. Except for the stuff I really like. Yeah.
Except for the stuff that I enjoy. I don't want to.
I don't want to ruin that stuff.
Yeah, you know.
I found myself rereading Invincible and realizing again how amazing that comic book series is.
It is. Yeah. All right, man. All right, Danny, what about you? What did you read on the
catch
toilet?
up with y'all, man, because I never read Invincible until I have the trades. I have like the first, I want to say the 3 collector trades, but I haven't read them. And I remember you and not who was it? Charlie, when y'all were talking about Invincible last week, Charlie McKelvey, when y'all were talking about Invincible. And you've been a proponent of Invincible for a long time. And I just, I haven't gotten around to it. I got it late. So, I was already behind, and I'm gonna have to get into that. But this week I read I got Charles Simpson's book, Zero Gravity. That came in from the Kickstarter, and I read that one while I was sitting on the toilet one day. Like I literally got off of work, checked my mailbox. It was in the mailbox. I opened it, said, "Oh, Zero Gravity. I have to use the bathroom. Let me go into the house, downstairs to the toilet." I opened it up and I read the book while I was on the toilet, and it was like great. Instead of, I think this is a mental health thing. Like y'all know me. I was late this morning because I have PTSD. Sometimes I struggle with my timeliness. But I think that reading comics on the toilet is going to help me with my mental health. So I'm gonna start doing it more often.
I mean, I've been advocating it for years. It releases some stress. It takes you away from all the hectic part of your life and just allows you to just focus on what's ahead of you. So I love it.
Yeah, and I sit on the toilet too long when I'm on my phone. Like I'll sit on the toilet for 20 minutes when I don't have to if I have my phone in there. So I need to stop that. But Zero Gravity was a good book. It was the colors on it were amazing. Like they introduced some cool looking characters in there. They didn't get much of the story. It was pretty much a big brawl. But they they introduced some cool looking characters so you can at least get a look at their powers and stuff like that. But the art and the colors were spectacular, absolutely great, and the lettering was really good on it too. So I'll definitely be checking that out in the future. What about you, Karen?
Well, what I read is something that is an award-winning book. It's an anthology, and it's something that all three of us contributed to, and that was Cthulhu Invades Oz. Now, Michael, you can now add this, that you are an award-winning artist, because this won Best Anthology for 2020 from the Comic Book Burrito Group. So we are now all award-winning creators, because we all contributed at least one page.
Hey, I'm in there. They added me on at the end, but I got in there.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw you on that byline saying written by Danny. I was like, wait, what? I don't remember him in any of the group meetings, the chats.
I wasn't. I wasn't. Just so happens Mike actually put me on. They were looking. I think Travis was looking for somebody to do a couple pages there, and Mike was like, "Oh, let me see if Danny's available." I guess I just happened to be on his brain that day, and I'm glad that he did, because I'm definitely putting that in my TikTok byline now. Award-winning comic book writer.
Yeah, I mean, I did it. I put it like when I first found out about it a few months ago. So, but it's actually a really good book. I was very pleased on at least my portion of it. This is probably one of my best artwork to date. And there was a lot of good stories in here that I didn't get a chance to read everything when we were going through production. So when I finally got the book, I sat down and started to read it. And I think I read it in 2 sittings on the toilet. So it was really good. It was really good. And if you're out there, check it out. It's called Cthulhu Invades Oz. It's literally exactly what the title says. The demon god Cthulhu comes and invades Oz. And what it is now different parts of Oz, different characters, and they're part of the story of how Cthulhu invades their portion of Oz. So check it out from Orange Cones Productions. But now let's get to the meat of this, and that is Michael Watson's Hot Shot. So for anybody that hasn't actually read your book before, Michael, tell us what Hot Shot is all about.
Oh, well, Hot Shot's about a young man trying to win back his girlfriend and prove to her that he was not cheating on her without revealing he's a superhero, while not getting kicked out of college because he's never there because he is a superhero. So he's got a lot that he's juggling on his plate. We're 10 issues in on it. We're collecting the first 10 issues in the 2 trades, volume 1 and volume 2, collecting issues 1 through 4 and 5 through 8. Issue 0 is going to be lettered with, because that was a silent issue, as one of the bonuses were put on there. Issue 9 being the most recent issue, you can add on. And courtesy of Victor Dandridge, we re-lettered the first issue of Hot Shot for this Kickstarter as well. So nice little tweaks and edits for new and old fans.
I love it. Why does Hot Shot even want Carla back? Like, I know the people who know us, the 3 of us, or at least the 2 of us, know that I hate Carla. I don't know why Carla even deserves Hot Shot. I saw Danny Cooper post the other day. She doesn't deserve him. Hot Shot is out here saving lives. He's out here, risking his life, fighting Void. Have y'all seen Void? Have you seen what Void can do to people? He out here crushing whole armies. Like, he's over here destroying whole almost states, the whole state of dang on Ohio out here dang on, and you can't give this man a pass because he out here saving lives. Okay, he didn't text you back, he didn't let you know where he was. Cool, I get you, Carla, I understand, but get a man a break. Why does he even want her back?
You can't say dango anymore on this episode, just so you know.
Already, how was that 10? Was that my 10 dango quota? Okay, yeah,
that was your quota.
Hey, what's so funny is that Denny J. Quick says, why doesn't she give him a break? And she did. Issue 7, she gave him a break. They stayed together. They were going to work it out. Your man was supposed to be out with her, and yes, something came up. He had to fight a whole woman that makes dragons.
Something kind of important. It's kind of important.
Teamed up with another superhero. That's cool. But after the fight was finished, he went to go get coffee and drinks with the sexy Dinah girl while his girlfriend's back at the dorm waiting for him.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're talking about. I'm not saying call and text me while you're fighting dragons, because I know you're a superhero now. I'm cool with that.
But you get out a lot of spoilers here, though, man. We want people to read the book.
The issues are out though.
I want them to read the drama. That's what we bringing them in for. But you out here stopping at Starbucks, sipping on a juice box, walking out, getting the paparazzi, getting you all pictures, and Carla's back at the dorm looking like Bobo the fool.
I think that's what it was right there. It was the pictures. The pictures caught her off guard. Cool. Now I know, and I've been married to my lovely wife for 15 years now, right? And I know that if I got caught by pictures out drinking coffee with some other woman, it would be trouble. It would absolutely be trouble, especially when she's not aware of it. Cool. I get that. But
and that woman's wearing Daisy Dukes for a superhero costume.
Hey, absolutely. It's a wrap for me. It's a wrap for your boy at that point. I get you on that. But my thing is if my memory serves me correct, he's trying to help her get back home. Like at that point, he's like, yo, let me figure out how I can help the situation so we don't get this dragon thing happening again. So
that's not the point, though.
Exactly.
That's not his job. I mean, come on. He got his girl waiting.
Okay. Well, then at that point,
walked out of Starbucks with a juice box, chilling, just sipping it like
he got no care in the world.
Not a care in the world.
I'm not saying that Michael Watson, aka Hotshot, is a perfect person. I'm just saying that with great power comes great girlfriend responsibility. So you got to take them lumps sometimes as the girlfriend to a superhero, or the boyfriend, in the case. You got to take them lumps sometimes, and you just got to understand.
Said you just got to understand. Well, I'm just saying, man, it's kind of like the straw that breaks the camel back. She was willing to work it out. She was willing to understand he's a superhero. But my boy out there with, Carrie Kelly designed a super dope character that's also, super hot mom. So Hotshot's out here drinking juice boxes and kicking it on Statue of Liberty. And, that was it. And I could see even if it was a guy, maybe it wouldn't have been so bad. But, I mean, we've all seen Dinah Girl.
It was the juice box. We're going to blame it on the juice box. We're going to say, blame it on the juice.
That was my favorite panel to draw in that issue, too. When my man was sipping on that juice box, I'm like, oh, you about to be in so much trouble, boy. I hope that juice box is good.
He looks so casual.
Was that juice worth it?
Love it.
All right, so how much of Hotshot is based off of personal experience? Like,
honestly, but just mainly the foundation of Hotshot, really. Probably about 35% of stuff that happened to me in college. We'll use the core of it and then expand on it. Like the new story arc I'm doing right now, which is that would be in 10, 11, 12, and 13, is actually based off a situation in my childhood, and I don't have any qualms talking about it or whatever, because I talked to my mom about it before I did it. So it will it will be exploring spousal abuse, and you being a kid and being around that and how that affects you and stuff like that. I let my mom read the story, and I talked to her about it because my mom was, my stepfather wasn't the best. We'll keep it like that or whatnot. And and I want to have stories that are grounded in reality for people to be able to relate to them, but we just use them at their core, and then we expand upon them with adding, the comic book aspect and seeing what we can do with the characters and take them, because this is going to be very heavy for a Hotshot, because it was heavy for me, because after the last situation where I literally had to stand in front of my mom with a baseball bat and say, you got to get the hell out of here or whatnot. I hadn't seen my stepfather, seen him for several years, until I was down here, and I moved down here to Columbus, and I saw him, and I felt a certain way about it. I still do. And I still have grudges with it. And my mom knows this. or whatnot. But then that got me to thinking, like, what can I do? Like, it made me look at myself like how I was when I was a kid, how I was when I was a teenager, and how I am now. And it made me come up with a couple questions that we explore with Hot Shot in this new story arc. So there's a ton of comic book stuff. There are Easter eggs in there for Danny J. Quick to get a hold of. We explore this whole thing with his past, and we introduce a couple new characters as well. So it's a very character-driven story, and your man's about to go through the ringer.
I didn't know we'd get that deep when I asked that question. My bad.
No, it's absolutely cool because the story is very close to me, and it's something that I wanted to tell. And Victor and Danny Cooper are probably, outside of Danny J. Quick, are the biggest fans of the series. And we talk about all the issues. We have it plotted up to 100 issues, and we're always constantly looking back where we're at and where we're going and whatnot. And when I sat down and I read all 10 issues together, I realized something was missing. I was like, oh shoot, he's getting way too comfortable with his powers and not getting his ass kicked enough. I need to reevaluate this.
That's a Robert Kirkman formula right there. My hero is too comfortable right now. Let me kill somebody off or beat the shit out of him.
That's terrible, man. Listen, man, I feel that, man, because I think that's a great idea, and I think as writers, it's great to put our personal experiences in comics. I grew up with a situation in my home with my father and my mother, and my mom had patience that I don't think I could have as an adult, and I am gonna enjoy reading that, and I can't wait to let it touch things in my memories that I don't want it to touch. But is that that arc coming after this 11 coming after this arc, or are you doing it after Zero event?
No, that's happening right now. So on the Kickstarter, which by the way, also Travis Gibb has given us the digital copy of Cthulhu versus Oz. So when we hit $10,000, not only are you're getting Cthulhu versus Oz digital for free, 168-page award-winning anthology comic book, courtesy of Travis Gibb, but you're going to get issue 10, which is the first part in this story arc. We immediately jump right into it with issue 10. 11, I'm hoping it punches you in the gut, because I really, I love Hotshot as a character, and one of my favorite things about him is that he wears his feelings on his sleeve. And Invincible, which I hate and love at the same time, with this cartoon, I think they explored this aspect of Mark more so in the cartoon than they did in the comic book, because I reread it and I really don't remember them touching on it, but the actual end result of failure, they really captured in the cartoon that I don't think that resonated with Mark. That I don't think they did that in the comic book very much at all. But the cartoon, they really pulled it out, and I'm like, that's what I just did with this issue. But we're neither here nor there, so we just gonna rock with it. But I want to show that, like, our heroes, while they're heroes and we look up to them, they still make mistakes. There's still moments of half steps or second thoughts in them, because they're human at the end of the day. And I want them to fall down the shaft, and then I gotta write and figure out how to pick them back up.
Now, I was doing some research on your character, and I tried to deep dive into research, and usually that means I go to page 2 on Google. And I found something that interests me of Hotshot is that he's only 5'7", which is short superhero wise. Was there a particular reason why you made him shorter than most superheroes would be?
Yes, because I am short. And the first character that got me into comic books was Wolverine. And I loved how tiny he was, because it was X-Men number 17, and the X-Men have these fantastic powers. You've got Cyclops with this optic blast, this commanding leader. Iceman turns to ice. Colossus has organic metal. Beast is a beast. Psylocke is a sexy ninja. And I'm like, oh my God. And they're getting their butts kicked by Omega Red, but the dude with the butter knives coming out of his hands keeps getting up.
Butter knives.
And like, I'm like, oh God, he's so small. He's smaller than Jubilee. I'm like, Jesus, I want to be him. This is how I want to be at school. I want people to step to me, and I'm all like, nah, bub, you don't want to do that. So there's definitely aspects of Wolverine in Hot Shot, but I definitely want him to be short because you don't get a lot of short superheroes out there, and because I was short.
No, you think it's represent? Oh, go ahead, man.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was saying he's taking representation to another level, adding now height along with skin color. I mean, not going to height representation.
Short people need love too, man. It is, and 5'7" isn't really even short. Like, that's not short.
Superhero wise, that's considered short. I mean, usually your superhero is 6 feet. I'm 5'7", so I felt good when I read it. I don't look as good as Hot Shot, but I got to lose some of this Corona weight, but I'm good.
He's played at 6'2", but a lot of that is the boots. So
there you go.
I got a question. I was reading issue 9, I think it was, of Hot Shot. And you know me, I'm the purple guy. So anytime anybody purple shows up, of course I pay attention. So I want to know why did are we gonna see Spectrum again anytime soon?
Spectrum is he's gonna be our running gag.
Not the purple guy. Come on now.
The purple guy is always a running gag, just letting you know.
Spectrum is an old character I used to have in my comic books back when they were MJW comics. And he was a mainstay hero, but I feel like I kind of, I've grown from that design and stuff. And as I was going through old artwork and stuff, I was like, oh, I remember this guy. Let's pull him out and let's see if I as a writer can make a joke work with Dragon Ball Z. And the colors, blame the colors on Veronica. She's the colorist. She picked.
Okay.
I gave no direction on this color. So I think it's just a coincidence that she went with purple. It's a color that we don't use a lot. It's Hot Shot's dominated by the blues. But I wanted to start having reoccurring, minor villains that Hot Shot could, entertain himself with. And hopefully the joke gets across in the book. Because that's the first issue that I actually wrote of Hot Shot.
Yeah, because you gave my man like 6 panels. Like he was in and out.
You can't have that much purple on a comic book and have people read it. I mean, that's just too much purple.
Apparently, yeah.
The only person that wants that much purple in the comic outside of Danny is Prince, and he gone. So,
hey, I love it, man. I love it.
No, with Spectrum, because you were saying this is somebody that you have for a while. So that, for me, that's what's called a legacy character, somebody that you've used for decades and whatnot. How many of your characters do you have that you've been stored away that you're thinking about putting in the book later on?
Oh, we probably got about somewhere around 25 to 30 of them or whatnot that are just like back in the day, back when I was in high school, back in the beginning of college or whatnot. There's still some characters that have not had enough time to be fleshed out in our FSK books yet or whatnot. But just teardropping these characters in where we think they can fit at, giving them good spots or whatnot. There's one character that we've had for a while named Gravita, who I've designed and had a personal attachment to, and just trying to find the right book to put her in. We just introduced JFab in one of our Cypher books or whatnot. Now she made her first appearance in Hot Shot. So hopefully,
I have to ask you about JFab too.
So hopefully with the content that we're going to be dropping here over the next year and a half, especially with our Cypher book, we're going to see more new characters sprinkled around the world of FSK, because we are trying to build up to our big grand event, our first huge crossover with all of our titles.
Okay. So I'm assuming then, and I want to say this delicately, I'm assuming that there is no plans at this point for anybody to revive Short Fuse?
At this point, no. Not that I am aware of. Those doors are shut, but you never know. Mr. Sean Mack could come back and just say he's ready to do it again or whatnot.
Okay.
I like JFab, man. I like the design of her. She's got the purple also, so I'm down. I'm down with that.
And she dope. She got her stuff off.
Yeah. JFab came in and knocked old big dude out. I forget his name, but the big brown guy. she got him up out of there. Now speaking of short fuse, man, I know I just made a post today about the one thing that I regret about short fuse. But other than that one thing, I learned a lot. I met a lot of good people. I wanted to ask you, how do you feel like your experiences with short fuse helped you grow as an artist, as a creator, as a businessman? How do you think it helped you?
I think it helped me out a ton. My previous publisher, prior to Short Fuse, dangled money and grand ideas in front of my eyes, and I was bamboozled by it, and I really found that out as that contract wore thin. But I immediately saw the difference when I came over to Short Fuse, when Sean specifically was talking about book sales and how they move books, production level, and all stuff, things that I wish I would have heard with the previous publisher that would have established more confidence in what they were doing. Because that was stuff that I didn't know about or whatnot. And, when Sean really called me on my stuff and asked me what my audience is, how much money my audience can bring in, and I gleefully said, 5,000, easy, 5,000, no problem. I know I got people that'll buy my stuff. And, he he allowed that to ride for me to see for myself that, no, we need to adjust that Kickstarter goal, all right? Need to adjust that quickly. Can we take that down? I'm thinking maybe I could do 1,000. And that's something.
Sean was good for that. Sean was good for letting you know what your what your numbers actually are, buddy. He'll definitely let you know.
Absolutely, and and not just like, albeit some of it is his opinion, he can specifically explain and dissect why he's saying what he's saying, and bring a lot of validity to that conversation. And it makes me sit down and go back and look at what I'm doing at that time. And, because I thought I had a strong comic book convention presence, I didn't realize that, I have a strong convention presence, but my convention presence isn't my social media presence. Those are two separate audiences. And,
sure.
Trying to build up my audience on social media. I mean, the whole me going live on Facebook was birthed out of Short Fuse, like me trying to build my audience and get people familiar with me and stuff like that. And, having a website, a distribution system for, getting the books out and things, all the stuff that I've learned from them on Kickstarter, running a Kickstarter, managing a Kickstarter. I learned a lot. And, when he put me into the publisher role there, I think that skyrocketed my IP, myself as a brand, as a person, when that happened. And, a lot more people were aware of me because Short Fuse had a really decent sized audience on social media. So I learned a lot. I can't say anything less than that.
How important is it for you to take the experience that you have at a convention and get that barterism basically and bring it to your social media? Because like you said, I'm someone at a convention, I'm quiet. I sit there, I draw. I don't really have that showmanship to bring people in. How much do you feel like that's a good, basically, trial ground for things that you might do in the future, like on social media or maybe new Kickstarters?
So the way I am at a comic book convention, it basically renders me that I have no embarrassment card. And I know if this stuff works in person, chances are it's entertaining on a screen when I have access to people that I don't have access to. The great thing about social media is you potentially can reach every person in the world versus a convention where you're dealing with, 11, maybe 15,000 people throughout a weekend, and you don't even see all those numbers. You see a percentage of those numbers. But if those people are enjoying the entertainment value and the pitching and selling that I'm doing at the show, how can I equate that to an online presence, AKA you get a show like Chat and Go, that has gone 150 episodes now. in just over a year, or FSK Day, where I put together with Danny Cooper, Veronica Smith. We had over 50 different indie creatives appear throughout that show, and we asked everybody to give us $1. We raised over $800 in one day, 12 hours of streaming. Or the next event that we're going to do is June 16th. We're going to be doing a backathon where I'll be streaming across 8 different networks, and my goal is to get, I haven't picked the number yet, but let's say 100 people. We want 100 people to back the Hot Shot campaign at $1. We'll be announcing specific a prize for that everyone that's already backed it is going to get this as well. But chances are I'll probably unlock the entire digital library that we have as an offering, but also so that's about 20 different comic books. Sorry, no, 30 comic books. Plus I'm going to add the entire FSK library for digitally backing us at $1. At $1 or whatnot, just so we can get more numbers on it. That's a technique that I saw Twitchers use. They go online, they'll stream for about 12 hours or whatnot, and it's just a backathon. They're just trying to get subscriptions. They have a goal set and they're just trying to get a bunch of subscriptions, and it really works in their audience because they already have a fan base there, and then people that are already subscribed to them will give subscriptions to other people because they think this person's entertaining, because they think this person's fun. Now, I have no idea if this is going to work, but it's something to shoot for and try. And Danny, Lori Foster, Veronica Smith, and I are trying to put together a template and things that we're going to do or whatnot. But that's the goal, trying to get at least 50 to 100 people to back it at $1, just so we get those numbers up.
Now, is Twitch the next thing you're going to take over?
What'd you say?
Is Twitch the next thing you're going to take over?
I would love it, but something else that I've learned is that I've got to understand my reach. I've got to understand my reach and volume. While I, as a creative, want to, hold on one second. Never mind. While me as a creator, I want to reach as many, lanes as possible. I've got to understand my lane. If I would absolutely love to take over Twitch, but in order for me to have the type of audience that equates my comic book stuff on Twitch, I would have to dedicate all my time to Twitch. Yeah. Because Twitch it's a thing about, well, a lot of the stuff that we do is about consistency, but from what I've seen, because I've partnered up with ID, aka Inevitably Dope, Midori Hannah, who are they're big time Twitchers on Twitch, and they have super dedicated audiences and they got a lot of subscribers and stuff like that. But what I've noticed for them is that ID, for example, he streams every day at the same time every single day. And when you watch his stream, he has 30 to 40 people hanging out with him, watching him play games. But he's got thousands of subscriptions. So he knows his audience. He hangs out with them and stuff like that. But he's done that. To equate that, what ID has done with Twitch is what I do with comic books, and I don't have that type of time to dedicate my comic book time into Twitch time. So I've got to find cheats and shortcuts, aka ID and Midori, have them not guest, but they're actual official host on our podcast show, Ages of Nerdy. Ages of Nerdy was a thing I started with my friend Katie May, and we were getting 2 to 3 people watching that and listening to it a week. Now we average 25 to 35 people tuning in a week, and that's not like in and out. Those people stayed for the entire 2-hour show, and they participate with us. So I would love to take over Twitch, but I don't have the time or any energy to devote what needs to happen to make that happen. But I have a presence on Twitch. I have a presence on Twitter. I have a presence on Instagram. So if I need to be found there, I can be found there. But my main thing is making the comic books.
Which is a full-time job for some people.
Yeah.
So.
I need to get on Twitch, man. I just like you saying, I don't have the time to dedicate towards it. And I don't think my particular skill set is good for Twitch. And but I know it's expanding rapidly. Like, and people, my kids shoot are on Twitch watching people, play video games and talk about, D&D and building and mods and stuff like that. So it's definitely a great audience, and they love, supporting their creators. So I see what you're doing with Chat and Draw, man, and that right there in itself, man. It's amazing, like the ability to do multiple shows a week. I know you're cutting it down a lot now, but just how quickly you got to 100 episodes, man. It was crazy. It was crazy for me to watch, man. So bravo to you, for real.
Thank you. Yeah, and that was part of that realization. Like, I was streaming more. Every time I was streaming, I was drawing, but I wasn't drawing hotshot, because I was drawing other people's characters or whatnot. So yeah, I'm still going to do multiple episodes depending on like how I schedule people, whatever. But I've started I guess you could say teaming up with other people that have podcasts that stream on Twitch and things like that. And we've kind of like taken a specific day for each other. So when our episode, like Chat and Draw, is dedicated on Wednesdays, so people know for sure that's like the one day of the week that I'm definitely doing it. I'm gonna have a guest on or whatnot. While Moana Nui podcast is on Thursdays, Unlikely Hero Studio Presents is on Mondays. I know Morgan Iverson is doing a new show. He just hasn't got everything together for it, but he's take Tuesdays. We got Tony Clapper for 5 Star Fridays. And we're all at the same time. Tony's at 6, but the rest of us are at 8 p.m. So that way we don't congest each other's traffic, because a lot of us share the same audience. A lot of the same people that like each other, they like us too. So we don't want to take from each other's audience. So we've been sharing that time or whatnot. If we get on, then I'm watching the show, or I'm making comments, or I'm hosting it on my Twitch channel. But I had to sit back and say, all right, I can only for sure do a Wednesday for Chat and Draw and do a Friday for Agents of Nerdy. I'll still stream other days, but I'm not going to stream during those times, and those won't be scheduled streams. Like I think I streamed the last page of Hotshot I drew, because I was drawing Ironsmith on there, and so just random stuff like that. But I want to get this book out. I want the whole thing with the Kickstarter being out right now, Danny and I both agreed that once we drop this Kickstarter, that means that we're releasing comic books. And that means that we can't miss a beat. And so our objective and goal is to come out with a new book every 2 to 3 months. And once Hot Shots, 10 is being colored, 11 is being inked and colored right now. So I need to finish drawing 11 so I can get into 12. Because if I don't finish these books, you guys are going to be pissed because of the cliffhangers. They're crazy. So I need that content to come out. But reassessing and looking at, I can't even say ours. I have to say my own failures. When I was leading FSK and, trying to figure out how not to go back down those lanes, not making those same mistakes. And, I was so clouded by the fact that, we got Hotshot, we got Visions, we got Heroes, we got Cypher. Then I need those books, when a new book comes out, all the books need to come out. Like, we need the new issue of Vigilance. We need the new issue of Heroes because the new issue of Hotshot came out. So that type of thinking got wiped completely, which we're focusing more on it being the FSK verse. You're following the saga of Freestyle Comics. So whatever our current issue is, that's the book that we're focused on. So for the new releases, it's Hotshot number 10. We're not worried about the other books. So if anybody comes to the table, well, what's the new issue of Heroes International? The new Freestyle, the new FSK book is Hotshot 10. And, right. Redone the graphics on our covers. And we've actually got the reading order on the covers now for you to be able to read the books in the order that we intend to. Now, that's just Easter egg stuff. Each book still is its own story. It has its own growth and things like that. But in Danny and I's eyes, if you read the book in this order, leading up to our big event, Zero of an Emergence, you're going to get more out of it. Do you have to read all of them? No, you don't. If you're just a fan of Vigilance, then you're good. You can just read Vigilance or whatnot. But
I am a fan of Vigilance. I love that, man. I think that's a great idea. And speaking of cliffhangers, and I'm gonna lead this into our quick takes, but you did at the end of issue 9, something you did reminded me of like one of the most recent episodes of My Hero Academia. So my quick takes are all going to be My Hero Academia based, since I know you're a big fan, and I'm still sort of new to My Hero. Okay, so some of this stuff that I might ask might be a little spoilery because you know more about it than I do, and you know the future of it. But I don't mind that. I don't mind spoilers in this case, this specific case. So we're gonna do my quick takes, and if you're new to the podcast, my quick takes are 5 questions for our esteemed guests, and you get one, or what are we doing? 45 seconds. You get 45 seconds to answer. Kyron is gonna play a little sound after I ask you the question, and you get 45 seconds right off the top of your head, and you got to go for it. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So, question number 1, and all these are going to be My Hero Academia based. So, tell me, who is your favorite character in My Hero Academia outside of the big 3, which is Midoriya, Bakugo, and Todoroki? I think those are the big 3. So, outside of those big 3, who's your favorite character and why?
That's such a good question, and that's worded correctly. I don't remember all their names, but my favorite character outside of Big Thumb, I believe, the dude with that's huge, yellow, like a round, big teddy bear who absorbs the energy and redistributes it.
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about. You're talking about the sugar.
Yeah, no, not the sugar guy. He's got like I love him. I love his design, his power, because I thought
when it talks to the animals, Twitter.
Nope. Maybe he hasn't been. Oh, maybe he hasn't been introduced in the cartoon yet, in the anime yet. But he's just a big round ball, and like his head is almost shaped like the Juggernaut. And you think he's just super strong.
Fat Gum.
Big Gum. Yeah.
Fat Gum. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. When they were fighting, when they were going after the league, there was that was dope. Yeah. That's dope. Okay. Question number 2. This recent episode, not this week's episode, but last week's episode, Deku found out that he's going to be getting the powers of all the previous wielders of One for All. So my question to you is: Deku OP?
Deku is what Deku needs to be. Your man said at the beginning of the show, "This is my story of how I became the world's #1 hero." There had to be some facts behind it. You don't start an intro off like that, like you the #1 hero. You gonna be the #1 hero, and this is his tale. This is how he comes there because he's got all the powers. I thought that was great. I know some people may not like it. He has too many powers and whatnot. I don't care. Deku is Deku, and he needs to ride out. #1 hero. I'm for it.
I'm down for it, man, because I think what is it? All for One. Like I said, the end of Hot Shot 9 reminded me of this recent episode where they showed, like, he's coming back. Like, he's gonna come back and he's gonna be trouble. So ain't nobody right now that can stop him. Like ain't nobody right now that can stop him when he decides to get out. So Deku gonna need them powers. He gonna need them.
Absolutely. And that's what's so great about the series, man. I'm where I'm at reading it, it feels like it's coming to an end in the same way that the Naruto story came to an end, and it took a little break, and then it came back as Naruto Shippuden. So that's the feeling I'm getting. That's my theory. That like they are going to end this saga. They may take a break and come back as an older generation of heroes or whatnot. But so much stuff is happening right now. It's just so intense. I'm like, yes. He absolutely does need these powers, and Deku, in the same vein of Naruto, it's a series you have to ride with it to start getting your roses and really enjoying it. The payoffs are all there. Naruto. I got shamed in my small anime community because I was the first one saying, "Look, Naruto is better than Dragon Ball Z." Naruto overtook Dragon Ball Z for me probably 100 episodes into Shippuden or something like that. And I was like, I absolutely, I agree.
I was like, bro, like when they got to Rock Lee, like characters like Rock Lee and Shikamaru, like their stories, like their backgrounds and their. Why are you looking like that, Kyron? What is it?
I can't get into Naruto.
I
watched.
Oh man,
I watched maybe 6-7 episodes of it, and I was like, I can't.
What?
That's okay, because I couldn't get into it too. I thought it was trash until you find the episode of Naruto that converts you. It's gonna be like that.
Yeah.
And it was the Rock Lee episode where he took the weights off, and that was what pulled me in and made me sit down.
I actually do like that episode because of Rock Lee. I like Rock Lee, but the rest of Naruto, I'm like, y'all can just kick rocks on that. If it was all Rock Lee, I'll watch it.
It's everybody has a different episode to where they, where they're hooked. Mine was when Naruto finally got the he summoned the toad. What was it? When he finally summoned the toad to fight against Gaara. I was like, okay, like we getting it. But yeah, so I'm with you. So quick take question.
Watches Naruto but me. It's sad.
It's a great anime, man. It's just great. And then I hit it during that time where I had time to watch consistently. But anyway, quick take question number 3. So anime, all right, my kids all watch anime, and I watched anime growing up, but as an adult, you notice things that you didn't notice as a kid, or you knew to notice, but it's a different perspective, right? So me and my wife, I put on Invincible, and me and my wife were watching it, and the kids were coming in because they were like, oh, what's this? They talk about, sex in there. They talk about all this other stuff. And they were like, oh, no, they can't. My wife was like, they can't watch this. And I was like, they watch anime, right? Like, they watch, the animes that they watch talk about all this stuff. But there's a trope in anime where there's always this one really pervy character, right? And in My Hero, that character is Mineta.
Yeah.
So what do you think about these anime tropes, and how do you, do you let your kids watch anime as a, because I'm sure you watched stuff growing up. I know we watched Dragon Ball Z, and Naruto had Pervy Sage. Literally, Pervy Sage was what they called him. So do you let your kids watch anime, and what do you think about that as an adult?
Yeah, all my kids watch. I do kind of monitor what they watch. I know anime has some stuff in it. We're pretty open with it. There's a lot of anime that they watch. Now, if I do monitor what they watch, if I see something that's too much, I will say, yeah, you guys switch that. You're not ready. But there's not too much that I say that too. They don't watch things out of pocket. But we all watched Invincible. So, and I think Invincible is a great story. I'm very much attached to that story and whatnot. Mineta, he's a hilarious character. I absolutely think he's hilarious. I love him. And I love him because of his perfect ways. But here's what it is.
I actually started cheering for Mineta in the exams portion at that one part, and I was like, "Bruh, Mineta's weird, but that grape rush, you gotta develop that power, and the power is like, so how can you use this to be strong?" But whatever.
Well, you saw him in the last episode, right, where he's bouncing off his own balls everywhere. That was dope.
I was like, they stick to everyone else, but I bounce off.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Mineta. I'm starting to cheer for you a little bit, you little pervert.
It's just hilarious watching him work, because he is the comedic relief or whatnot.
Yeah.
Right? But that's the thing. That's what I like about My Hero Academia versus Dragon Ball Z, is they make you like all the damn characters to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
People that you think are just throwaway characters are not throwaway characters, because they all get a focus episode or whatnot, and they're very good at bringing the potential out of a character.
Yeah.
How can you not cheer for a guy walking around in a diaper trying to fight crime?
That's what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. All right. So quick take number 4. Okay. So Vigilance is one of my favorite characters in the Hot Job verse, but I think anywhere else Vigilance would be a villain. So if villain is one of my favorite things about My Hero is that all the villains have these crazy grandiose themes, right? They all have this big purpose behind what they're doing. They all have these monologues that they speech off. So if Vigilance was a villain in My Hero Academia, what would be her theme, and what would she want to do to take over the world?
Well, Vigilance. I don't know. Y'all haven't read the first three. Well, you have. But if Vigilance was a villain, she would just want to bring desolation and destruction.
Mm.
And
she could do it too.
Huh?
She could do it too.
She could do it too. She would want to cause suffering because that is what she gets stronger off of. Basically, just bringing shadow and darkness to the light.
Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. I can already see it coming, but I'm ready for Hotshot versus Vigilance, bro. Whenever it happens, I'm ready for it because Hotshot's clearly stronger than Void. Like, she gets stronger. Like you just said, she gets stronger when whoever she's fighting is getting beat. She gets stronger, it seems like. So I can't wait for Hotshot versus Vigilance because there's no way that he should be able to beat her. So, however, whatever deep light fire inside of him that he has to dig to get, hey, I'm ready for that, bro. I'm ready for it.
Oh, it's so much fun.
You can tell me if you want, man. You can go ahead and let me in on the secrets if you want. You know,
yeah,
it's just us here.
Spoiler. So
I love how Danny just keeps that guys underneath him, just always ready to pull it out. Spoiler, right there.
It's right there if you want it. But all right, my last quick take. All right, so My Hero Academia. I feel like there's tragedy coming. I feel like there's tragedy. I want to say Lemillion's story was so sad. Like, you know, what happened to him was so sad. But I think one of the characters is gonna die. One of the main characters, or at least one of the classmates in 1A will die. And maybe you already know because you've read farther ahead. But pick one of those characters to die from class 1A, and tell me why their story would bring the class together.
Oh man. Damn, if any person in class A could bring the class together. Anybody would, because they've all had signature moments. They've all persevered through, challenges, pain. They've rallied together so many times. They are that whole squad is ride or die. They are the Fast and Furious family of anime. And if anybody in there goes down, it would like you hurt anyone on there, they're all coming together like fucked up. You know that, right? It's done. Yeah, I couldn't pick a person. It would just be anybody in that class because they are all down. You know what? Bakudo. I always pronounce his name. Him, I think they would go belligerent. And I think they would show the most emotion for him.
Yeah.
We're not even going to include Deku in this. Just because Bakudo's such an a-hole or whatnot, I think the class would go crazy if he died.
I don't know if you saw it, but on TikTok, people were going crazy just because Bakugo showed a little bit of character development. Like he said, from him, like, I'm gonna beat all you a-holes, to what did he say? I'll watch your back and you watch my back. That was the only thing he changed. Like he moved that little inch, and people were like, "Oh, Bakugo's the greatest." I'm like, bro.
Bakugo became the greatest when Eraserhead was talking about him. When Eraserhead was talking about him to the newscaster and said, "If you knew him the way that I knew him, he would no way in the world he would ever become a villain." And then right at that same line, your boy had the perfect opportunity to turn villain, and he said, "I'll beat all you jerks." And I was like, Bakugo, you talking young smack right now, son. You're surrounded. That room is small. You got to chill out. But my man said, no, he wants all the smoke.
He don't care take it all y'all out.
He don't care if it's Godzilla smoke. He don't care if it's mouse smoke. He wants it all. That is the moment where I fell in love with Bakugo, right then and there. And I said, they could have did the obvious thing and make this dude a villain and made him Deku's rival. And they just reignited his hero-ship.
Yeah.
Nobody else in the class could have did that but him. That moment, the hardest moment in My Hero.
Very true. I thought they were obviously gonna, make him become a villain. I was like, this is gonna be Naruto and Sasuke all over again. He's gonna go dark, and the whole series is gonna be them trying to get back. But I'm glad they didn't. I love that moment too.
Whew. Tingles.
Well, that was it for me, man. I appreciate that. That was like the best quick take so far. I like that, man. That was cool.
That's a good little heater. I like that.
Gotta take a moment.
Now, I mean, because he gets on my nerves. I was like, dude, would you just shut up? Would you, like, get off of Deku's back, man? Like, I hated Bakugo. And then in that moment, when he stood up to all the villains, these wasn't some scrub ass villains.
Nah, they weren't scrubs either.
This was all like the inner circle. Like, if my man touches you, you disintegrate.
Literally.
Like, he's the villain. And Deku, and Bakugo's just there like, I want the smoke.
Bring it.
Give me all of it.
legit.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
Bakugo's a good character. I'm down with that. He got on my nerves. All of them get on my nerves. Like Naval Laser gets on my nerves too. Even what's his name? Not Hawks. What's the Dark Shadow? Dang, what's his name?
Oh, I know you're talking about. He gets on my nerves.
He gets on my nerves too, because I feel like he could be so powerful. But he's scared. Like he's scared that the power is gonna overtake him. But I'm like, okay. But I like his design. I like his quirk. So yeah.
I was thinking you were gonna say Uraraka would be your choice, Michael, honestly.
Oh yeah. Your Ravity dies.
Yeah. She holds everybody together. I mean, she's the soul outside of Deku. She's the soul of the whole class winning.
Yeah. Or Ida. Ida dies. That would be tough too. I think you're right though. Like all of them, everybody in the class has a special moment. Even like Yaoyorozu, like her, her and Todoroki, their little bond and stuff. It's just a great anime. It's anime.
It is, man, and that's what I've always said. Like, I read it faithfully every week. My Hero Academia has reinvigorated the '90s kid in me and what superheroes always were and what they are supposed to be at the end of the day. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy, the darker takes. I enjoy, Invincible is still the greatest comic book that's ever been made. I get a kick out of The Boys. There are some very good stories, but, at the end of the day, I still want a section or a place I can go and just see heroes be heroes. And that's that undying will to do what's right because it's right, because it's in their system to do that thing and to do everything in their power, broken arm, tore up uniform, busted blood gushing out, to fight until their last breath. Like Deku, he makes these epic ass speeches all the time. He wants to be All Might, or he wants to be just as good as All Might. And you would think it's corny, but it's not. It is not. And like, I can't wait till y'all see Deku at issue 300. That boy's a problem.
I gotta start reading it now.
I don't know. I think we should have made a poll about My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
There's so much of this episode about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we should switch it up.
Let's make it happen.
It's another big influencer. Like if you asked me to tell you those things, like Naruto is obviously a huge influence. Invincible is a huge influence. Wolverine is the catalyst. Spider-Man is the foundation. But as I, grow as a writer or creator, and my fandom has expanded, My Hero Academia is like those big hit moments, those character moments, the ability to make everybody important and matter is just so well done. Deku as a character is just dope. That driven, non-deterrent, unstoppable spirit that he has. All Might, is incredible. All Might's a great character. He has, what he's going through and whatnot's really cool. The rivalry, the pushing, it's just, there's a lot of points there that are just so good about it.
Well, let me see. As far as, because we're talking about influencers and schooling, things like that, I want to talk about you and being a teacher and teaching. I assume it's children. I don't know if maybe you do adults too, but teaching just art and comic book. Like, how did you get into that?
I've always worked with kids ever since I was back in high school. I used to do summer programming and stuff like that. And I remember me and one of my, brothers back home in Cleveland, we were working with kids in the summer program. And I've just been doing it ever since then. It really took a catalyst or became its own when I moved down here to Columbus, and I was working at the Boys and Girls Club for the summer, and I was doing the art program for them, and that led me to to really be able to actually come up with lesson plans and come up with stuff that I thought was fun as cool, and not do any of the stuff that I disliked in art that I thought was boring and lame, like crafting. I'm not knocking crafting, but crafting's not for me. All right, I don't want to do craft art. I want to do real art, and I wanted to show them art that actually is in life. Like, I got promoted to the art director of the Boys and Girls Club, so I was over all the Boys and Girls Club for Columbus, and so I got to redo the whole art program. So like my summer program was, I taught us how to make samurai armor out of cardboard, but in order to do that, we learned about samurai, and then you had to, we learned about clans. Then you had to make a clan. You had to come up with your colors. You had to come up with the history of your clan, and then you had to look at different types of armor, and we made that armor out of cardboard. We spray painted and airbrushed that armor. We did the photo shoot with the armor, weapons and all that stuff. We did that for a whole month. Then the next month was we made a movie. We made a Star Wars movie with lightsabers. I had one of my friends from college come in. He shot it. We edited it together. We did stunt rehearsals every day. We had lightsaber practice. We did scripting. We did the whole thing. Made a movie from scratch because I wanted them to see that you did not have to. That was one of the things that always bothered me in art classes, that there were people that didn't know how to draw, or they said they can't draw. So I wanted to make my art classes incorporate as much of non-drawing stuff as possible. Like, you don't have to be able to draw to be a creative, to be an artist. And then my last month was hip hop. We made our own hip hop albums. So I had people come in and teach the kids breakdancing. Some of them shot music videos. We showed them how to do graphic design and make their own album covers. They went and recorded tracks and made music and stuff like that. So all this stuff, all these different things, these were all things that were in the art field that these kids could do. You can be a graphic designer. You can do, obviously you can be a rapper, you can be a singer, you can be a choreographer, you can learn how to dance and make money off of dancing, you can break dance, you can be a photographer and do photo shoots, you can be a casting director, you can be a writer, you can be a director, you can be a stunt person, you can be like all these different things that do not involve drawing. These are all creative art things, and I wanted a way to make sure all the kids got involved. And just, I've been doing it ever since then. This will probably be the longest stint that I haven't done it because of the pandemic or whatnot. But I was at Picktown Artworks, and I had a digital art class, had a comic book class, had all types of stuff, and was teaching up there and having a good time doing it. I tried to do some teaching streaming, but it just got to be too much, and I had to cut things out to make room for other things.
Well, you're really the first artist that we've had on the show. I mean, we had everybody else that we've had has been writers at this point, outside of Eric Cockrell from Essence House, who does art. You're the first true artist that I think we can really say. And you have a very unique style in the way you draw. During my deep diving of page 2 of Google, I found a video of you from, I think it was 9 years ago, when you were running a Indiegogo. And you talked about, and I had never heard of this story until I saw this video, but you talked about how you were going to cons and showing your artwork and showing your stuff to different editors. And one of the editors told you that your style was just too urban, quotation mark, for Marvel at the time. How much does that influence what you're still doing today? It's just that rejection of saying, you know what, my style was good enough, but just wasn't what they really wanted.
It's the spark that started everything.
Still to this day, it still sparks you though?
Yeah, because like, if that conversation doesn't happen, then I don't feel like a loser and go home and sulk all day and bitch to my friends about it, and then wake up the next day and say I'm going to do freestyle comics. Like, if that doesn't happen, freestyle comics doesn't happen, because I get up the next day and I say, well, I'll make Marvel and DC come to me with my urban style, and I'll just make my own comic books. And that's where Hotshot gets started. That's where Hotshot takes life, rather, because I've always worked on that character since I've been in high school or whatnot, and that's when he really started taking shape and form. By trying to make it into a comic book or whatnot. But um, because like I want to make sure I may not have been as big of an advocate for it back then, or even as aware of it as I am now, but I knew that I wanted people to be able to see themselves, and it wasn't a big thing for me because I went to a college where it was super diversified. Like Columbus, Ohio is a melting pot. It's got one of the biggest colleges of all time there, the Ohio State. So we are getting people from all over the world coming down here to live in the city. And it's the same way with the art school, Columbus College of Art and Design. It's one of the top 5 art schools in America. So we're getting people all over the world coming here, and we're all in a dormitory. So when I'm going to school, when I'm going to class, when I'm in my dorm room, or we're out in the lobby chilling, I'm not just seeing one type of people. I'm seeing all types of people. So when I'm drawing my comic books, I'm drawing all types of people because that's what I'm drawing. That's what I'm experiencing. I'm drawing my life. So the more and more that becomes a realization, the more and more that I focus on it. And now somebody asked me the other day on one of the other shows I was on, they asked me how much of how important is it to it, and I was like, well, it's not our focus, it's just how it is. It's how the book started. The main character is a black character, is a person of color, because I've always wanted to be a superhero. But then when I look around at the table, that I have all these fandoms that I love. No knock against them. I love them. I absolutely do. But how many of those are leading people of color? How many of those characters are female characters that have their own anime or their own mainstream comic book that's doing numbers? It's more apparent now, with the last couple of years or whatnot. But that wasn't something that I saw when I play video games and you get to make a creative character. I always made a woman because there was plenty of games with a man in them. I saw all those, except for Mass Effect. I did create myself. Oh yeah. Danny Cooper still freaked out by that. Because
Mass Effect was a good game. That's a good series.
It's an amazing game. But I worked real hard to get that romantic relationship, and when I got it, because I used to live with Danny Cooper, and when I got it, I was like, Danny, come here. It's going down right now, baby. And Danny came in the room. He's like, what's happening? I was like, I got it. And Danny was like, oh, y'all are getting together? I was like, yeah, look, man, it's happening right now. And he was like, and then Danny started figuring out, like, oh God,
that's disgusting.
No, I can't watch this.
Bruh, that's hilarious because I know exactly what part you're talking about in the game too. Like, I could imagine having a roommate and saying, "This is my character that I've created to be romantically involved with this alien character," and bruh, it's amazing. That game was great.
It still freaks Danny Cooper out. He will always have a story about it. Still bothers him or whatnot. But but I digress. But seeing those things and being more apparent with them, having it happen, it was always in me. I want to say just because like that's just how I am. I want to see like I don't want to see the same thing. Like I just watched Infinite on Paramount Plus. Spoilers, sorry. You won't be mad at me if I spoil it anyway because it's trash.
I'm fine on watching it.
It's just Hollywood can't keep making these movies with no heart. And like I'll die on this mountaintop. I absolutely love Fast and Furious. The Infinite tried to be Fast and Furious, but Infinite doesn't have any heart. None of the characters I believe in that movie. And then I feel like it's just kind of disrespectful to have a character that keeps reincarnating as a person of color from throughout all of history, but then all of a sudden, when we do the movie about the person, it's a white guy. I like Mark Wahlberg. He's funny. He's a great entertainer. But like that just really bothered me. Like all the back, except for one other character, he was white too. But all of his past lives, excluding these most two recent ones, were people of color. And then the bad guy was a black guy, and this I can't remember his name, but this is a really dope actor. I love him, and this is the first role that I've seen him in that I didn't like him in because it's just it's these little subconscious things that it's little and petty at first, But then you start seeing a trend in these movies, and it's like, guys, y'all got to stop doing this. You just have to stop. Like big special effects, big stunts, and that can't carry a movie anymore. The reason it works with Fast and Furious is because you love the people, you love the cast, and it has heart. I can excuse everything they're doing. I know Vin Diesel can't do any of that shit. I know all that stuff is ridiculous. I know it's over the top, but damn it, he says family and we ride. That's it.
You're like, let's go. Family, let's ride up.
I've bought into the universe, and then this Infinite movie took, what is it? Altered Carbon, which Altered Carbon corrected his own mistakes in the second season. I like the second season just as much as I like the first season, and I feel like they course corrected things and made it, better. But like, it's like, why? So like, basically, my movie tastes now are just, it's so much harder now. Like, for me to go to the movie theaters for a movie, you got to do more. Fast and Furious, you got me. MCU, you got me. I'm going to the movie theaters. Cruella de Vil was better than Infinite. Like, much better.
It was solid though. Cruella was solid.
It was a great movie, and I went to that movie because I have kids, but I ended up winning. Infinite would have been something I would have went to the theaters to see. I mean, thank you Paramount Plus for putting it on the streaming service so I could watch it, because I would have been pissed if I went there because it was so mundane. All the one-liners didn't hit. All the action to me didn't hit because I'm like, I don't believe Mark Wahlberg in this role.
Mark Wahlberg usually does pretty good too.
Yeah, but he was doing shit outside of his lane in this movie. He was doing heroics outside of his lane in this one.
That's Mark Wahlberg movie I liked was with him and Andre 3000. Was that Step Brothers, something like that?
Four Brothers. I just watched it the other day.
Yeah, Four Brothers. That's right. That was the last movie I've seen with him. I was like, this is a good movie.
He did a movie for Netflix with old boy from Black Panther. But it was good, and that fit a Mark Wahlberg role.
I like Shooter. Shooter's my favorite Mark Wahlberg movie.
Which one?
Shooter.
Shooter is good. But it's just like y'all can't, like Hollywood, your formula, and don't get me wrong, right? I know new movies are coming out. I know more TV shows are coming out that are adding that variety, that are adding that diversity lens to it or whatnot, and doing it in the right way. But I see why some of these shows are coming straight to streaming. And it may be that Hollywood is getting a glimpse and aware, like, it's 2021. This movie, this is not, no one's gonna go see this to the degree we want to see in a movie theater. Let's send this right to a streaming service.
We went to the theater to see A Quiet Place 2. This is the first time we've been back to the theater since the pandemic, right? It cost us $150 to go see a movie for the 6 of us. I would the movie was good. The movie A Quiet Place 2 was solid. But
spoilers, I haven't seen it yet.
They all die. No, I'm just playing. But I'm not paying $150 to go see half of these movies that are coming out that I can watch on Netflix, or Paramount Plus or HBO Max. I'm not doing it.
And then at the same time, a lot of people are complaining that Disney's charging $30 for a movie that you don't get to keep.
That's nothing. When you got more than 2 people you take in the theater, that's nothing.
Legit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, are we really looking at the cost of this? You're talking about gas. You're talking about the movie tickets. And if you buy tickets online, there's a fee for buying them online. Then you're talking about food, snacks. If you're going out for the whole thing, like, that's more than $30.
Yep.
And when you go to the movie theaters to spend that money, you don't own the movie anyway. You're not getting to kick that movie.
You get one time.
Hey, Black Widow, I'm watching right there in my room over there. I'm watching it right online.
Black Widow I might go to the theater for. I'm still debating on that one. I do want to see Quiet Place.
Quiet Place, I got stuff about that. But, now that I know Danny J. Quick saw it, then me and him are going to get online and talk about that.
Yeah, y'all can do that afterwards or something without me, because I don't.
But so here's the thing. While I have issues with Quiet Place is still a good movie. Good acting. I believe everyone in their role. Overall, it's a good story. It's just, you know how when you watch horror movies and you say if they do this one thing, then the whole movie's over and they're saved. Well, there's a point in Quiet Place where if they do this one thing, they get a whole nother movie. I feel like they forced a movie that they wanted instead of the movie that they should have done.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about that because I thought that about the second movie, but I won't. I won't say anything. But the second movie, I thought that same thing because, well, not necessarily that, but if this thing would actually happen, then it would have changed the whole. But yeah, I'm with you.
All right, I'll go watch Quiet Place this weekend or something. I wanted to go, but nobody in my house wants to watch it with me. So,
well, but then again, that movie was enough to get me to go to the movie theaters to go see it.
Yeah.
So
I enjoyed the first one. That's why I want to go see the second one in the theater.
I'm very particular about what movies I go see now versus staying at home and watching on streaming service. But it's just like this same formula can't continue to happen anymore. Like you guys, like we can't keep putting out the same stuff. Like you can't just think that because you got an A-star actor, action star in this movie, and then you got 13 dope special effects and 16 dope stunts, and then an okay storyline that you stole from other storylines, and like that's going to cut it anymore. Like it's not.
Yeah.
You got anything else for her?
I'm done. I didn't realize we just sitting on here just talking. We over here just taking up Mike's time. We just out here talking about everything. So that's it for me. I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. You got anything else?
I do have one thing. And since Mike is the host of Chat and Draw, if you haven't watched any of Chat and Draw, I highly recommend them. They're entertaining, they're fun, and Mike always produces amazing artwork. I had this notion to actually do a Chat and Draw for this episode for you, Mike, just to see you could see how it's like. But unfortunately, family stuff came up, and I just didn't have the energy to do it, unfortunately. But I did start it, and I want to show you what I got to. Now, you let me know what you think here. So this is, and for everybody that's not watching the video, this is, hopefully you guys can see this.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
So I started off with a little headshot of Mike Watson's hot shot. He was a little battered, a little bruised. I was going to color it up and everything, but just life got in the way. So hopefully I did you some justice. I don't know.
Oh, no, you did. Hey, just go ahead and ink that. I'll give Veronica the color.
All right.
I like it.
All right.
Yeah,
if
that's what we're talking about, baby. That's how we like hot shot. Battered and bruised.
Battered and bruised.
Well, if my life comes back to a point where I can get back to this, I will definitely finish it. It's just personal things came up and slowed me down, but I will finish this when I can.
I like the little snot dribble coming out right there. I like that. Somebody done
you like that, huh?
The snot out of
Yeah, I know. I'm not as fast as Mike. When he I have no idea how you were able to bust out an image in like an hour while talking and interviewing people. I couldn't do that. This has taken me like 2 hours so far, just this point. So,
well, I appreciate it. It's, if I have to equate it to anything, it's from comic book conventions, and back in high school, we carried around our sketchbooks and we battled. Like you had to be ready to battle at a moment's notice. Like if somebody called you out, you had to just throw down immediately at that spot, whatever it is. Somebody would, like everybody kind of knew the rules, so whoever was around kind of just knew if a battle happened, they would just be the ref. And they come up with something for you to draw, and you have to draw it in that moment.
I've seen you and Ren do that online a couple of times.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And then I really don't want to take commissions home back to the hotel room with me, so I'll be trying to get them.
All right. Well, this has been fun, Mike. I'm glad you were able to join us. I wish we had time, but I know you're a busy man, and Danny's always busy. He's got family for some reason that he wants to spend time with. But before we let you go, we do want to make sure that you get your link out to where people can check out your Kickstarter. So if you don't mind dropping that so everybody can know where it is.
And your social medias.
Absolutely.
We'll get to that. But you're messing me up, man. You're messing me up. Kickstarter is more important right now, all right? I want free comics.
Absolutely. You can get to the Kickstarter of the Hot Shot Collection, numbers 1 through 8 at Freestyle Comics, KOMICS.net. It'll take you right to our Kickstarter. We are just 8,000. We're 8,500 right now, trying to get to that next stretch goal to 9,000. There's a ton of stuff. There's a ton of stuff on this Kickstarter. We got stuff for old fans of Hot Shot. We got stuff for new fans of Hot Shot. We've got stuff on here for hardcore comic book collectors. We've got stuff for new comic book collectors. We've got stuff for casual comic book collectors. If you're into art, original art from comic books, we got that type of stuff. If you're into variant covers, we got that. If you are trying to catch up on the entire FSK library, we have that option as well. So please go check out the Kickstarter. We've got like 12 or 13 days left on it. If we hit 10,000, you get Cthulhu versus Oz, 168 indie all-star award-winning comic book digital version, and we're giving away Hot Shot 10, the brand new issue of Hot Shot 10, never released before, first part in our story called Unforgiven, part 1 of 4. So please check that out. If you don't have any money to back it, that's cool. I appreciate you anyway. Go ahead and go over there and give me a share. Share us out to your network to as many people as you can. That is just as valuable as funds being put on there.
And I might add, even if you don't have a lot of money, just donate $1, because that $1 still sends that notification out to everybody that follows you on Kickstarter that you backed something. It doesn't tell them how much you backed, but even that $1 sends you out to maybe 10, 15 other people that might be interested in it.
Yeah. All that's appreciated. Like I said, June 16th, we're doing a backathon. So we'll be online from 6 o'clock to midnight, trying to get as many backers as we can, literally just backing for $1. We'll have exclusive stuff that we're giving out for you guys for doing that or whatnot to spread the word. And I've learned this thing about branding, being a part of the Short Fuse Media Group. So you can literally catch me on all social media platforms as Most Epic Art. If some of you are asking, well, what's Most Epic Art? It is most enthusiastic person in comics, which is my moniker, my stage name, and things like that. So Most Epic Art on all social media platforms.
Very nice. Danny, where can we find you and your amazing work?
Everywhere, The Ace Blade. That's TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. The Ace Blade, at The Ace Blade, and you'll find the Purple Ninja Dude.
What about you, Kyron? I just realized that you were sporting a Concrete Comics shirt, man. That's nice.
They got a nice soft cotton. I mean, if I had I've worn my Hot Shot Nike shirt probably like 3 times a week, bro. Like I love that shirt. But you know, I had to throw on something. I got all these indie comics company shirts, so I sport them all week.
Well, make sure you wash it, please.
Wash.
Wow.
All right, everybody. Well, if you want to find me, you can find me at tauruscomics.com. I'm also on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr, I think at Taurus Comics. You can find me on TikTok and at Twitch at Kyron49. If you want to catch up on any of our previous episodes of this podcast, you can go to fourtalespodcast.com. That's number 4, TALES podcast.com. You can find links to all our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even our Patreon. So if you want to help support this podcast and maybe see some behind the scene video of us, and again, Danny's amazing purple wall, go online and become a Patreon subscriber. We will do our best to send out Michael's links to his thongs there. That sounds like said thongs. Let me redo that. We will do our best to send out all the links that Michael will post about his Backathon and his Kickstarter. We will make sure we link that in the pod notes here. But thank you, gentlemen, for being part of this. Anything else you guys want to say before we leave?
I want to say thank you for allowing me on your platform and asking really good questions. This is a great format you guys have set up here. I really enjoyed the conversation. So I do appreciate you guys letting me on here to play in your world and get access to your audience and things like that. So just thank you.
I'm glad to have you on here, man.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on, man.
All right, everybody. Well, take care. Sayonara, goodbye, and please take care of yourselves. And we will see you next time. And welcome everybody to the Four Tales podcast. I am your host, Kyron Silva, along with my spectacularly bald host, or co-host, I should say. Yeah, you're looking good with your. I tried to match you. I cut my hair, so I was trying to match you.
Finally got a haircut, man. I was gonna say that, man. Thank you for getting a haircut. See, now our viewership is gonna go up.
Ladies love that nice haircut, right? Now, I watched our last episode with Michael Watson, who is killing it on his Hot Shot campaign, and I realized my hair was crazy looking. I looked like Mr. Glass from the Unbreakable series. And I was like, all right, I got to do something. So I asked my barber, who's been my barber for 15 years now, and I said, cut me up, and she did a good job. So,
is she the one who gave you the rat tail? Did she?
No, man, no.
That's something that was somebody that was previous.
That was my mom's, all right. That was my mom's. Okay. For anybody that's asking, I showed Danny and our guest today a video from me from 1991 with my mini afro, flat top, whatever you want to call it, mushroom. I don't know what it was called back then, and my rat tail that went all the way down to my butt. And it's cringy, but it's cute and it's part of my life, and I loved it. You know, I had that thing. I sported that every day from elementary school all the way through up to high school when I realized I was going to get bullied and picked on. So I said, Mom, cut it. And I cut it. And I haven't thought about it since.
Till today,
yeah. But we're not here. You want me to bring the rat tail back?
Yeah, I mean, that's the only place that I can actually grow hairs back here in the back.
Oh, okay.
So if you do it, I'll do it.
You gonna pay me?
No, not doing that.
Okay, then no. We're not bringing that back at all. Unless I'm getting paid, I'm not bringing that thing back. You know how many? That's no. I'm not gonna go into. That's a whole nother podcast. That's not what we're here for. What we are here for are comic books, indie comic books, and self-publishing comic books. Which I think now that's what I'm gonna start calling myself and people in our level, self-publishers. I'm not gonna call myself indie anymore. Because I realized, maybe indie should just be for anybody that's not Marvel, but's going through Diamond, IDW, Dark Horse, and even people like Second Sight Publishing who are now going through Diamond. But people like myself and you, Danny, I think we should start just calling ourselves self-publishers. And that will break that barrier that people are trying to get confused on what's indie and what's not anymore. I don't know, maybe just me. I was just thinking about that the other day.
I like it.
All right. But before we get too far into things with our amazing guest today, we do have some poll results from last week. Danny created a great poll if you're watching the Loki series on Disney Plus. He had a question: is this version of Loki, the Tom Hiddleston, is that how you say his name?
Hiddleston, right?
Yeah. Is this version of Loki going to survive the entire series or the entire season? We had a poll result of 62% of people saying yes, 37% saying no. So, there's some people out there that maybe agree with you that he might not last the entire season. Yeah, which I'm all right with that. As long as they keep bringing a Loki, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think this new Loki, spoiler alerts for anybody who hasn't seen it, but I think this new variant, this Enchantress, I think it's, they're trying to, meld Loki and Enchantress for this character. And I think she's going to be taking over. I think Loki's going to die, or I think Loki's going to really die. We've seen Loki die several times now. So Loki's
finally he's going to actually die.
Right. I think he's going to actually die, or the Loki that we're most familiar with. And, Enchantress is going to take over.
Right. I just want to see Marvel go full Norse mythology and have him turn into a horse, and then he has a baby.
No,
I want to see that. Honestly.
No, we're not. No, we're not going to go that far. We're not. Disney's not going to do that.
Doesn't Disney own Animal Kingdom, Animal Planet, something like that?
National
Discovery Channel. National Geographic. Okay, there you go. It's all part of the world. It's all national. No. It's all geographic. No, am I going too far on that?
Too far. Not enough national. Too much graphic.
That's good. That was really good. All right. All right. Well, all right. Since I've gone too far again with my description on things, let's go ahead and talk about our guest. Actually, before we do, because I have a better segue in this. What comics did you read this week?
So I actually read On the Toilet by the
On the Toilet. There you go.
I started reading this Monarchs comic, Zoom and Boom. I found this guy on TikTok. He's it's really great. The art in it is really great. It's more got like a manga style, as you can see. But you do read it front to back. It's like a fighters tournament, and it starts off pretty good. I didn't get all the way through it yet, but I definitely gonna finish it. And I got Sebastian Jones's Ruining Christmas book somewhere. I thought I had it over here, but that Ruining Christmas book came in that he did on Kickstarter in December, and it's really naughty. It's one of those naughty books, but it was pretty
actually naughty or just graphic naughty.
Like more naughty than I would like to show my kids. So but it was entertaining. It was entertaining. It was a short little preview, but it was worth the read.
Okay.
What about you?
I was actually very heavy in my reading this week. And I'm gonna bring up a book that I was going to mention last week when we didn't get to record because of circumstances, which I'm not gonna go into. But it's a little bit of old school and a little bit of new school. So I'm gonna go in order from timeline wise. So first thing I read was X-Men Days of Future Past, which was actually something it's been on my read list for a while. I got the trade, I guess you can say, which even though the actual Days of Future Past was only 2 or 3 issues, this trade is like 6 issues worth of story, and I have no idea why they added the extra 4 issues in here, but really good. I then read, and I said this is a heavy book for me, a heavy week for me. I read Creech, which is a Greg Capullo's self-independent book from the 90s. Story about this scientist who is reanimating soldiers and turning them into super soldiers. Really sci-fi stuff. Then I read Ash, which was from Joe Quesada, also a 90s book, about a firefighter who gets superpowers. Made no sense, but it was totally cool. The story was like, okay, he's burnt up and he gets superpowers. Don't know why, but he got superpowers because he got burnt up.
From the flames.
Yeah, it was supernatural. Maybe I need to read more than issue 1, but it was totally 90s. Joe Quesada's artwork is amazing and really cool. And then the last thing I read,
you superpowers? You didn't know that?
No, I'm not going to try that either, which we don't recommend on this podcast, to try to burn yourself for superpowers, get bitten by radioactive spiders, anything like that. Have your parents killed in an alleyway, nothing. And the last thing I read was self-publisher Evan Burgoon's Tiny Wizards, which is about a group of literally tiny wizards from another dimension that come to our dimension and take over a fast food restaurant. Okay. It's a crazy read. It was fun though. Evan Burgoon is a local creator from Sacramento, which I don't know why. There are a lot of great creators in Sacramento. We have a lot of artistic people here.
There's a couple of them that are decent.
Oh, do not disrespect Ron Lim like that, okay? I love the Lim family. I've had lunch with them before. Don't disrespect them. Or Sam Keith, local Sacramento creator Sam Keith of the Max. Don't be disrespecting him. Or Robert Love, who's going to be on our show from in October.
Oh, I see. So this is just a Sacramento comic creator show now. I get it. All right. No, I didn't understand that starting, but I get it.
It is. And that's going to lead us to our guest today. Another Sacramento creator, or as he likes to be called, a Sacramento comicer. He is a comicer of almost 15 years of experience making comic books and webcomics. He's the artist and co-creator of the webcomic Eben 07. He's the artist, well, I should say artist, writer, and co-creator of Evan 07. He's an artist, writer, and creator of the amazing Long John webcomic, which is one of my favorite books right now. He is the co-creator of the upcoming book Yak Force from Taurus Comics. He is the co-host of a podcast for all intents and purposes. He is a sidekick for the yearly podcast Con Artist. He is Dan Bethel.
Dan Bethel, ladies and gentlemen. Is there anything you don't do, sir?
Sleep.
But not to mention, he's also a college professor throughout all this, and a dog lover. I know. I found a lot about this guy.
I own a dog. I don't know. I don't want to use like weird language here. I love my dog, but dog lover. I want to.
Okay.
Yeah. But I got a little worried. You said you had a lot of heavy reading this week, and knowing that you guys, when you talk about what you're reading this week, you talk about what you read on the toilet. I didn't know where you're going to go with heavy reading. So I'm glad it was just a lot of comic books and not something else.
Put more fiber in your diet.
There we go. Be more regular.
I can't. It's the diet I have. I'm trying to lose weight. It says don't eat as much fiber. So
there you go. Anyway, so yeah, it's great to be here.
Thanks for having us on, or thanks for being here.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad you could make it. And so I got some questions for you.
Oh God. All right, what's your question?
So what are we doing?
We are talking about you and your book Long John, which, like I said, Long John I've been reading for 6 years now. Right, it's been 6 years. I started reading issue 1, and it's one of my favorite books, and I say that wholeheartedly. And it's a Western about a cowboy who wakes up in the middle of the desert and has everything taken from him outside of his long johns, his underwears. Right. And he has to go out and figure out what happened to him and his group. And it's an amazing book. I feel like it. And I don't read Westerns normally. I'm not a huge Western fan. I'm not a Western fan at all, honestly. But from the moment I read your book, I was like, this is dope. The combination of the storytelling along with the animation style artwork that you have is such a great combination. And I just thoroughly enjoy it.
Well, thank you so much. I do say that it's a Western in setting only, because don't tell anybody, I'm not like a huge Western fan. It's just that
what?
Well, the thing is, like, I'm not like a huge fan of Westerns. I like Westerns, specifically a certain strain of them. I like the Clint Eastwood, like spaghetti Western style, everything from Fistful of Dollars. And even though he wasn't involved, but things like Django Unchained, I love that movie. I saw it 3 times in the theater.
It was amazing. It was great.
But I love also.
Who's your favorite character though? That's yeah. Your character was Leonardo DiCaprio. We're gonna have some issues here.
I like Candy though. I like Candy.
His performance was amazing. I'll give you that. But I also, but the Westerns I like are kind of the ones that are a little weird. I like, of the Clint Eastwood oeuvre, there's High Plains Drifter, which is like this weird kind of almost ghost story that actually was filmed in the place where my comic takes place. But also, like, there's the Johnny Depp movie Dead Man, which is super weird. That's really, really good. And I like this almost like the slow burn Westerns of like the assassination of Jesse James, and like the stuff that we really get a sense of the scale and scope that really creates more of a mood than anything, and less about specific plot lines. I like the tone. And honestly, I kind of came through to Westerns through 2 different directions. I was a big fan of like the Akira Kurosawa samurai films. Mm-hmm. Like Yojimbo is my favorite movie of all time, but also the modern Western, which I would argue are actually post-apocalyptic movies like Mad Max and stuff like that. Realizing that those all come from the same source of this genre called Westerns, and realizing that California has a rich sort of history of the Old West, got me interested in the genre that I wasn't really exposed to a whole lot when I was a kid. So I kind of came to Westerns in a roundabout way. I say that Long John isn't a Western so much as it's just the story that takes place in the Old West. And like you said, Kyron, it's like, I get a lot of comments from people saying, I don't like Westerns, but I like the story. I'm like, well, it's because I'm not trying to fit a mold. I'm just telling the story of this character that just happens to take place at this time, at this place.
I like that. Fun fact: I just learned today that Jimbo was remade into A Fistful of Dollars, apparently.
Yep. And also
Great
remade again into the Bruce Willis movie. Oh goodness, now I forgot it.
Die Hard? Die Hard was...
Yep, it was Die Hard. No. It was like he was like a gangster movie. Oh gosh,
I think I know trend.
I can look it up. Give me a second. This is important.
That's important. We have to find this information.
I think I've seen that one too. Actually, hold on.
Everybody's checking furiously.
It Last Man Standing.
Yep, that's exactly right. Ry Cooder soundtrack, super good. But yeah.
Fun fact, also, it's been turned into Fast and Furious 10. You just haven't known that yet.
Right. At this point, they're just remaking old movies. Fast and Furious 11 is just
family goes to westerns.
They got to race wagons. They go back in time and race wagons,
flipping wagons over head over foot. And the wagon's in space now, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to see it though, so it doesn't. I don't care.
Fair enough.
That is one film franchise that has just jumped the shark like multiple times.
Keep jumping it. I see that's surprising to me to hear, because Kyron, like Kyron say, he's been reading Long John for 6 years, but I just got into it probably 6 days ago. And I really love the introduction. I love the main character waking up in the middle of nowhere, and then as the reader, I have to figure out what's going on with him.
Right.
So I think that's great. And as a fan of westerns, me and my wife, we watch westerns all the time. I was just watching The Rifleman today.
Nice.
I just love western stories, and how the underdog has to fight against the elements, or the the establishment, or the incoming establishment.
Right.
And I'm looking forward to it. This is one that I will ask Kyron not to spoil for me, because I'm super interested in reading it.
Well, that's actually spoiler. You are.
Yeah.
Now you spoil stuff too, Kyron. I get the label, but you're just as bad as I am.
Okay. Right.
Well, to hear that you specifically don't want to be spoiled is quite an honor. So I hope you enjoy the ride.
Just so you know, everybody dies at the end.
That's true.
Of course.
All right.
The very next page that you're going to read, it's when everybody dies. It's
like, what page are you on? 7? Yeah, 8. Everybody dies.
Then it becomes a sci-fi. It's going to be real wild.
Well, okay. Let's talk about endings then, because I during my research, and it was hard to find information on you that I didn't already know. But I found a lot of other podcasts and shows that you've been on where you have said that you have in your mind about 150 pages worth of story for your book.
Right.
But then you also mentioned another place that you think you're going to bring this out to about 6 or 7 books altogether,
right,
which was another podcast. So what is it? Is this going to be a finite series? Is this an ongoing series? What exactly is going on with Long John?
It is a finite book. It's a single story that I'm telling.
Okay.
Excuse me. And and I'm sticking to 150 pages. So book 7 is only going to be about 3 or 4 pages. No, no, it's the thing is, with the way I write is that the pages can fluctuate, but it's working out to basically be about 30 to 35 pages a book. So in the math there, it's going to be about 60 more pages after book 5 is done. So, but it is a finite work. If I want to come back to it, depending on kind of how well it does or whatever, if I feel the need to come back, I do have a sequel in mind, kind of a sequel. But we could maybe talk about that later if you want. But it's not really
furious.
Yeah, yep. Again, flipping horses end over end, jumping off of cliffs and grabbing helicopters. It's going to be wild.
Okay.
But yeah, because I want to. When I got into making comics, our first comic, Ebon 07, was an ongoing story. Although we did have, if we wanted to end it further down the line, we had kind of an end game idea, but we never got that far. But this one, I know I want to tell a bunch of different stories, and so I'm like, I don't really have an idea for an ongoing series. Really, I just want to, especially considering I make comics so slowly.
You are pretty slow. Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome.
But I realize I need to come up with stories that have beginnings, middles, and ends, and not overcommit myself. or else I'm never going to get anything else done. Right.
No, you started Long John as a webcomic, along with Evan 07 was also a webcomic. Is that something that you just feel more comfortable with in that format? Or is that just more easier for you to use instead of just printing everything out?
Right. Yeah, I'm still a webcomic mostly because of habit at this point. We made Evan 07 specifically to be a webcomic. And in terms of even page formatting, we weren't formatting for print at all. So when we did our first book, it was a problem. But mostly just cutting and pasting panels and moving stuff around. It was a mess.
Yeah,
but
I did that with Shaman's Destiny on Webtoons. And I was trying to convert that. And initially I was stupid. I was like, I'm just going to put page one onto here. No, it doesn't work like that. And so formatting it from a webcomic to a comic is a whole art on its own.
Right.
Yeah,
and once we
tried it with Ace Blade and I put 4 pages in. So
yeah, it's no fun. It's no fun cutting up pages and moving stuff around. But I'm actually glad you brought up Webtoons, because even though technically I'm still a webcomic first, pretty much all the pages go up onto the website, as well as go into book form. But I admit that I am actually I'm doing an old form of webcomics, a form that kind of died out in 2015, 2016. So back in the early days of webcomics in the 2000s and early 2010s, webcomics were an ad-based, website-based kind of format. So you have your website and you got your Google ads or whatever on the sides, and you made money by people staying on your website. Click to the next page.
Wait, I'm sorry. People make money off of comics?
Webcomics for a while. Yeah, people were making good money off of webcomics. But around 2014, 2015, the model changed because browsers came installed with ad blockers, and so they couldn't make money. And so the modern webcomic model is like the Webtoons model, where you make revenue, you're sharing revenue with the host, like Webtoons or whatever, or you're doing Patreon, or you're doing Kickstarter. And I haven't made that transition because I know I can't commit because of my day job. Basically, I know I put stuff out slowly and I work slowly. So I'm like, I'm not going to try to commit to a monthly Patreon or something like that, because I can't guarantee if I got 150 papers I need to grade these next 2 weeks, I can't put anything up on Patreon. So it's a webcomic in name only. I am writing and drawing for print. It's just I keep that website out of nostalgia, and because I like being a webcomic as well. So it's a webcomic in the sense that I put stuff on the web, but I'm not really following a specific modern business model at all.
I think it's a good idea. I started reading on the website, and but I prefer print. I clearly prefer print comics, having them in my hand. So as a matter of fact, I'm gonna order the rest of the books right now. As a matter of fact,
do it now. Do it. Just do it. Okay. Well, while he's doing that, let me ask you something, because you were mentioning that you're going to have possibly sequels.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about doing a prequel? And Danny, it's a little bit of a spoiler, but a prequel involving all the other Johns, Juan John, Johnny Mono, along with Long John, and just see where they started to where we found them at the end.
You're right. It's funny because like the original story idea I had was the story I'm telling, where it's we wake up and we just hear about the kind of cool guys they were. And then I'm like, this might be too hard. And so I was thinking, what if I just do like a episodic stories based around the Johns?
That just sounds bad.
and I mean, it could be more, it's more just action adventure kind of goofy stuff. But then like, that's not the kind of comic I want to make. And so I probably wouldn't, if I were to do something like that, maybe I would fund an anthology where I'd maybe bring on different artists to illustrate those types of stories. But I'm
willing to do a Johnny Mono.
I can't think of anybody off the top of my head really right now to ask. But I don't think I would, just because it is or if I did, like I said, it'd just be a one-off thing. But yeah, those, like you said, those stories aren't, that's where you fall into more traditional Western mold. And like, that's not the, those have been better. That has been done differently and better in multiple ways. And so I'm like, I just want to keep moving forward and find, like I said, if I do come back with like a sequel or something like that, I want it to be another kind of off-kilter, different style of Western, kind of like what I'm trying to do with Long John.
No,
I'll keep you in mind if I do that anthology. And Danny, too.
I am not holding my breath on that now.
Fair.
Now, along with Long John, the story also involves another character who I thoroughly enjoy, Hellrider Jackie. And she has this creepy vibe to her. When you see her, she's wearing a skull or just wearing all black. Where did she come up? Yeah, she's just dark and just scary. But where did she come up? And when you decided I'm gonna make this story, but involving her, like how did she come about? Without spoiling anything.
Oh no. She a version of her has existed since high school for me. When a friend of mine and this is going to sound real weird, but okay, so Jack in the Box, right? They used to sell toys that were like Jack riding or using different vehicles. And so I have somewhere, one second. I know it's an audio podcast, but
it's an audio podcast, but if you want to, you can subscribe to our Patreon and see the video of all this right now.
So we got Jack on a motorcycle here, this old toy, and we were just kind of hanging out, my friend Josh and I, and just being bored. And so we're going like, here comes Hellrider Jack, and like almost like a Ghost Rider kind of thing, but no story kind of thing. And I love that name. And that character has popped up in a bunch of different failed projects that I've done over the years. Like my friend Josh and I were going to make a video game, so there's a Hellrider Jack character, and he was going to be mysterious and had a skull mask and stuff like that. And then finally, when I got around to Long John, I'm like, what about Hellrider Jackie? And try to find a way to work her into the story. But yeah, it's like it's like the ultimate inside joke for me and one other person. But that's honestly where the character came from. But once I started weaving her into the story and figuring out how she is part of the overall tale, she became inseparable from Long John itself.
So Hellrider Jackie is a goth, gender bent Jack in the Box.
Jack in the Box.
Yep.
I love it. We don't have Jack in the Box out here, so I never got a chance.
You're not missing much.
No, okay. You are missing a lot. You need to go find a Jack in the Box, get the bacon ultimate cheeseburger, and devour that.
Hey, if I'm ever out there, that's one place I'll definitely go.
There's a Jack in the Box down the street from me that we're pretty sure is a front for some sort of money laundering.
Oh yeah, they all are.
It's so like well kept, and it's like it's always looks new, even though it's been there for 20 years. But there's never any cars outside of it. So I'm like, there's something going on, right?
It's like the car wash from Breaking Bad.
Hilarious. I just love the idea of Long John. It starts off very similar to Ace Blade in that, there's a man who wakes up, well, in Ace Blade's case, he's been shot 4 times, but you don't know what's going on with him. And I just love the idea of kind of the mystery of what happened to this guy. And I think that's a great place to start a story.
Right.
Kyron said earlier that you are a professor, and I've learned that you teach English. How does that help or hurt you as a writer?
That's a good question. Because most people ask, like, how do they, how do you use comics in class, or how do you use your class in comics? And like, I don't, but like how it influences me as a writer, what it gets me to think about more than anything else is structure and intent. So with my previous comic, and like a lot of people's first comics, they're just kind of writing as they go. They just want to see what's cool, right? I think, Kyron, talking to you, that's kind of how you wrote Shaman's Destiny, right? You're just like, let's just see where this goes.
Yeah.
But having plot intersect with theme, at least the theme as I see it, whatever people get out of Long John is up to them. I'm not going to tell you what to think, but like seeing how ideas fit together so that I can actually be saying what I'm trying to say from the beginning of the comic by the end, and realizing that I can have plot points that are also big character moments, and not trying to force one into the other. I have to sacrifice one for the other. And because that's because what the English I teach, I don't teach literature or anything like that. I teach, composition classes, the basic writing classes that everybody has to take. And it always the same, the mantra I say in every class is that every piece of writing, whether it's an essay, a poem, a song, a speech, comes down to you answering two questions. What do you think? And why do you think it? Tell me why. Show me how. And yeah, that's an argument. That's a thesis statement, but it's also storytelling. It's why is, your character is cool, but also why is your character cool, right? Don't just show me. Don't just show me by having cool poses and dynamic scenes. Let other people bounce off of them. Put them in situations where they can be cool or struggle, and so they can actually be cool out of that situation, right? It's kind of thinking about overthinking, honestly, structure and page design specifically. Each page for me is like a paragraph in an essay, and like what do we have to say on this page so that we can get to the next page and have that make sense. So that's kind of how that informs it.
I love that. That's I think that right there, what you just said, took me 5 years in my writing journey to learn. And as soon as I learned it, it took my writing to another level. Now I put theme in everything that I write. If it doesn't have a purpose, then there's no point in writing it to me. Right. So I love that that's something that you keep in mind. And I can't wait to see. I'm gonna read all your stuff, man, to be honest with you.
Thank you.
This is gonna be cool, man. I've enjoyed hearing you. And writers get a bad rap, especially in comics, because everybody thinks they can do it.
Right.
And you seem to be you've studied, and Byron, you're a good writer. Stop it.
No. I was just thinking, and this is way tangent wise, but yeah. I just remember I had one more book that I read this week.
Okay.
Stop it.
I did. I read Robert Kirkman's Tech Jacket, Volume 1.
Oh, Tech Jacket. Okay.
I don't know why that just popped in my head, but I was just like,
Robert Kirkman is a great writer. He's
he is. That's why I remembered that. I was like, oh yeah, great writer, Robert Kirkman. Oh yeah, Robert Kirkman, Tech Jacket. I just read that. That's another 4 or 5 issue book that I just read this week for some reason.
So you're saying while we were talking, Danny and I were talking, you were basically thinking about the toilet.
I do have to go to the bathroom, yes.
What is it with you? What is it with you and this toilet affinity you have?
It's my safe space, all right? It's my safe space. It's the only place I get freedom from everything.
Right.
Oh, you get freedom on the toilet?
Because I have locks on my toilet.
This is Dad's toilet. This is Dad's toilet. Stay away.
If you want to use it, you got to put a quarter in that thing. Sorry, I'm sorry. I just totally broke train of thought there.
Well, Danny, you brought up, so we're talking about writing, right? And like one of the things I say is like, because I'm, I'm a writer artist, or as Kyron pointed out, I'm a comicer, because I'm like, what's one word that can describe what I do? And it's awkward to say, but like the joke is, especially during Ebon 07, when because when I started Ebon 07, I actually kind of stopped drawing for 7 years, and I was not really confident as an artist, but throughout my entire life, I've been a writer. And so the joke I've always said is that I'm a writer who draws, not an artist who writes. And I do think that balance is probably still accurate. I'm probably I have more of a brain of a writer than an artist. But so that's why I think I think a lot about writing, and why it's the forefront of what I do in terms of overthinking, getting pages done. I really care about that structure and composition more than I care about the art in a lot of ways.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that.
I'm gonna be like you when I grow up, Dan. And I'm just at the end of that 7 years that because I quit drawing, and I was like, I'm not a good artist. I refuse to put this stuff on a page. But now I'm starting to open back up to it. So
you can do it.
Thank you.
No
Thank
problem.
you. I appreciate that.
hey, if you want to start drawing stuff, send it my way. Send it Kyron's way. We'll talk about it. We'll give you all the encouragement you need.
Kyron's a terrible critic. This dude,
Okay.
He's a great artist, and I would not be able to accept bad criticism from Kyron.
he is
okay, wait. I am very insightful when it comes to criticizing other people's work. I don't do it to demean you or to put you down. I only try to give you constructive criticism. I will tell you what's bad, but also tell you what you did good. Now, my own stuff, I only see the flaws in everything I draw. Everything I've drawn, I'm like, I don't like that, or that. But everybody else's stuff, I will show you what you did great and what you can improve upon. And that's just how I am.
We'll test it out and see then. We'll test it out.
Send it my way. You have my email, Facebook, text message. You have every form of TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. You can message me every way possible at this point.
Which window's my bedroom window? Yeah.
and now Dan finally accepted me on Facebook. So I can send some his way too.
I'm just here to steal all your friends, Kyron.
Well, I only have like a couple more after Danny at this point.
There's only 4 of us. There's only 4 of us in the group.
Yeah, and 2 or 3 of those left with Big Tree Comics, so I'm a little shortchanged at this point.
Oh man,
that should be a whole interview right there. Just what happened with Big Tree Comics.
Hey, next time we have a whole guest cancel on us, we'll do that.
There you go. Yeah, I like that. Interview each other.
Okay.
That's it. Okay, so is it time for quick takes? Can we do that now?
Sounds good. Let me
All right. Meow, meow, meow. So, Mr. Dan Bethel, we have a segment that we do, and thank you for listening to our podcast. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to us ramble on about indie comics or self-published comics. Now that we're
there we go. Yeah.
What we do is a little section called Danny's Quick Takes.
All right.
And I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and Kyron is going to play a 45-second sound clip, and you have to answer the question as quickly as possible, just straight off the top of your head. Okay.
Sounds good.
So I went through your Facebook. I love to go through people's Facebook pictures to see.
Okay.
We're gonna change this segment,
creepy, my dude.
We're gonna change this segment to Danny stalking through Facebook.
Hey, they're public pictures, okay? They're public pictures. The first thing that struck me is I saw a picture from way back when you were, I think you and a group were cosplayed as Western characters. You got together, and you had the rifle and the saloon lady who looked like she worked in the saloon.
Right.
And I love the themes of the Western, as we talked about. I love Westerns. So my first question was, what is your favorite Western TV show, and what is your favorite Western film?
Okay, Western film. Whoa. Intense. Western film would probably have to be, oh goodness, Unforgiven. It seems like an easy answer, but it's such a good inversion of the traditional Western tropes and cliches, and it's awesome. Favorite Western show? The only one I can think of is Briscoe County Jr. Which I'm not upset with that answer at all.
I'll take it, yeah.
Lonesome Dove is really good. I was surprised by how good that was, but it was a miniseries. I'll say Briscoe County Jr. You know what? That show doesn't get enough representation, so
yeah,
boom.
We'll go with that. That's a good answer. That's a good answer. We talked
the only Western show you could think of, huh?
Yeah, right, dude. Call me in at 7 a.m, expect me to think of all the Western shows I've seen. Yeah.
Think about me. I have to do all this at 7 a.m. every other weekend. All right.
Good for you. Good for you.
It's 10 o'clock here, so I'm happy.
There we go.
We talked earlier. My favorite Western is The Rifleman. I watch it all the time. Just put it on in the background. If I'm not watching Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon, I probably have that on in the background.
Right.
And I absolutely love it. All right. So your second question, while scrolling through your Facebook, I noticed that you have a lot of great pictures of nature.
Yeah.
So what is it to you about nature that attracts you, and what fuels you about being out in nature?
There we go. Well, there's two answers here. One is that my wife loves hiking, and so we do that. But I've grown to appreciate it. Even though it's something I wouldn't do on my own necessarily. But there's something about, especially when you get to a place where it's just wide open space and there's nobody else around. You can think about things, but also just keep walking forward and not have to worry about emails, about appointments or anything like that, and just kind of look around, be alone, sweat, and when you're done, go home and have a drink. Right? It's just it's something about the sort of refreshing about it.
You never have to worry about your Zoom crashing while you're out in nature.
No, yeah. Although Kyron would be out walking in the middle of nowhere, like, you know what, we should record a podcast right now. This is done.
There's no toilet around here, dang it.
Nature, hey, in your nature, everywhere's the toilet.
Everywhere's the toilet. Oh man. Okay, so your third question, and you have to answer it. You cannot say neither. You cannot say both. Okay. So I've seen a lot of pictures of animals. On your timeline, cats and dogs.
Yeah.
So I think I know the answer because of what we talked about earlier. But cats or dogs, and why?
This is the hardest one so far. I was raised a cat person. They are easier to deal with, but there's no denying the adoration of a dog. I think I might have become a dog person, even though puppies are jerks.
That's absolutely true.
They're the worst. They're absolute worst.
My children have forced me to get 2 dogs, and we have 2 puppies.
Yeah.
And they are very stubborn. They're sisters, and they are very stubborn dogs, but I love them a lot already. So I wonder what Kyron's answer would be: cats or dogs?
Dogs, easily.
I know that, yeah.
Easily
dogs. I hate cats. I hate cats.
Well, you're like deathly allergic to them. When you came over that one time, I had to like sanitize my house like it was a detox zone, like we were coming out of a nuclear.
It sucks because growing up, one of my best friends, he had like 4 cats in his house. Mm-hmm. So every time I'd go to his house, I had to take like a bunch of allergy medicine before, during, and after I left his house because I was like just allergic to everything.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know you could be this. I mean, it makes sense, but I didn't know that you could be allergic to one and not the other.
Yeah,
that it makes sense thinking about it, but I never thought about it.
I'm allergic to fish, but not other forms of sea life like shellfish and octopus. I can eat all that, but fish I'm definitely allergic to also.
Yeah, me too. Okay, question 4.
Okay.
There is only one answer. There's only one correct answer to this question.
God.
Okay. And everybody that I've talked to, besides a couple of people, have gotten it wrong.
Yeah.
So
I think I know the question already.
I might too. Yeah.
What is the best Batman film?
Oh.
Question I thought.
No,
animated.
I was ready to say the answer was Ace Blade, but
no.
The best Batman film?
Yes.
Oh man, I'm gonna say the wrong one. Personally, I can't go wrong with Batman '89, the Michael Keaton one. Okay. That was my age group, and that was like where that was my Batman. I could say Dark Knight, I could say Batman Begins, I could say stuff like that, but no, when it comes down to it, if you present all those with me and say you have to watch one right now, Batman '89.
Okay.
Is that the wrong answer?
That is the wrong answer.
What is it?
The correct answer is Mask of the Phantasm.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yes,
that's a good one.
Yes, you know what? You're right. That is the best Batman movie.
Most of those Batman films are good for one reason or another. So there's not technically a wrong answer.
No, that movie's perfect. Like literally.
Yes, it's a perfect film, and I love it.
You're right for the George Clooney Batman, right? We're not counting that at all, right?
Oh, I love Bat Nipples too. Bat Nipples are great.
So you like cyber stalking and you like bat nipples. Okay, we're learning a lot about you today.
Yeah. that's my jam. So
he wrote his bat nipples while he cyber stalks.
I got to keep them separate. Keep them separate. That's
too exciting.
That's great. So before I ask you this last question, I saw you have pictures holding a guitar, but do you play guitar?
Who can I answer that?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
You do play. Okay.
Yeah.
So music or comics
Ooh.
and why?
Comics, even though it's harder, I don't like doing that as much as I like making music. I'm better at comics than I am at making music. It's a hard fact. So, there's whatever you're good at, you always think you're it's always hard, and so you always like doing the other thing better. But I'd have to choose comics because I think gets more of me out into the world than any of the music I make. So comics. Final answer.
I love it. I'm a percussionist myself. I play set drums,
Nice.
and I love it. But at the same time, I feel the same way that you do. Comics helps me develop more, and I have to do more research. Like music just comes more naturally to me.
Yeah.
I can pick up an instrument and learn it, but I have to actually research for comics, and it
Right.
helps me develop as a father and as a human being more. So
Right.
I
Like,
enjoy it.
yeah. I think same way, like music is more just about it's like an immediate reaction, just getting it out. Whereas comics, there's something about growth. Not that I can't grow through making music, I can't learn stuff, but like, yeah, the effort that goes into making comics is in a sense probably, and it's a different kind of reward, but I think one better for me in the long run. Sure, I totally see that.
I love it. Thank you. That was our.
Wait. I got one quick take. Here
we go.
And I've been saving this one.
I know what this is about. Yeah.
Oh no. So one of the things that you've also done, you do a lot of sketches on your Sketch Friday. And one of the sketches you did, I think it was last year, it might have been 2019. But you did a sketch of two amazing leaders, Leonardo and Cyclops.
Yeah.
We had the two of them side by side.
Yeah.
If you had to choose one to lead your team, which would it be and why?
Oh man.
Ooh.
Because they're both great leaders, Leonardo and Cyclops.
Leonardo sucks, but okay.
Wow. I would choose Cyclops. He has more experience. He has probably better skills, having not living. He doesn't have to live in a sewer. And he has more training, honestly. I think he's better at thinking on his feet and dealing with a bigger team. But honestly, if we're going to choose the best leader.
No, don't be adding the extra thing in here. It was Cyclops or...
Cyclops.
Okay.
Cyclops.
Who would you add if you could?
Storm. She's the best leader of the X-Men.
That's the answer.
Yeah.
Hey, respect. I respect that.
She is the best X-Man, honestly. Just all around. Boom. But Leonardo's the best turtle. That's a fact.
I think Storm deserves her own film series. Like, I think.
Yeah.
Can we bring back Halle Berry?
Huh?
Oh
no.
Actually, here's a collab I did with someone that's on the stream right now. Remember this, Karen?
Yeah, I remember that.
Boom.
I inked that, baby.
You did. So so this is for you, Danny. Your favorite two characters coming right at
you. Cyclops is. I think both Leonardo and Cyclops. I don't think they've been done well on screen and on TV, is what it is. I think in the comics they shine greatly in the comics.
Yeah.
But I think film and TV have done those two characters specifically wrong as leaders. I think but the comical versions of both of them are great.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Yes.
You guys did a poll on who the best turtle was, right? And
yeah.
Who ended up being the bottom of the list?
Michelangelo.
That makes sense. Yeah.
When they're filming the first X-Men movie back in the 90s, I wanted Al Chandler to play Cyclops.
Oh, sure.
He's from early edition, and he did Friday Night Lights.
Right.
Okay. I know what you're talking about.
I thought he would have been a great Cyclops.
Yeah.
He had that look of a stern leader.
Right. Yeah, he just gets cast to play dad in every movie.
I mean, Cyclops has a little bit of a dad in him.
Oh, totally.
He wants to take care of everybody.
Right.
So I don't know.
We can see Cyclops before they board in the X-Jet. He's like, Rogue, did you bring a jacket?
Yeah.
Logan, are you going to wear those shoes? Those shoes? All right. Yeah.
It's
Don't
cold
make me
out
turn
there.
this plane around. Yeah,
All right.
totally. Dad energy coming off of Cyclops.
All right, that was good. That was a good quick takes. That was good quick
Thank
takes.
you.
All right, so let's get back into something that we haven't addressed actually is
Okay.
your animation background.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And that, if you look at your style, like I mentioned earlier, your animation or your style has a lot of animation look to it.
Right.
You could definitely say it could translate directly to screen.
Mhm.
I mean, honestly, I'd love for it to be like a live action series or
Mhm.
something in the
Right.
future. But what made you get into animation initially?
I hate drawing backgrounds.
Okay.
And so
Okay, I need to get into animation then because I hate drawing background.
and so because of that, I like in art classes and stuff, I never really took to doing still lives or like scene drawings. I always like drawing figures and specifically figures doing motion, action, movement. I liked the problem solving of like what does a torso look from this angle? What happens when you twist a torso this way and the hips the other way, and figuring out that sort of spatial realization. And then I learned that that's what animation is. That's all you do. That's all you do. And so I went to a community college after high school, and they had an animation program. And so I took some of those classes and got an internship with a video game company that was starting up at the time and eventually never released anything. So good for them. But it was actually then when I realized that animation wasn't I was too slow. Big shock. I'm slow with everything when it comes to making art. But they moved me off of animation to character design and storyboards, which I'm like, this fits. And it was a natural jump from storyboards to making comics. So yeah, my animation background isn't in necessarily animation proper. I'm actually drawing cells or frames, but a lot of the theory behind animation definitely translates to the choices I make on the page.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I remember on it was a couple months ago, you actually released an animation that you did of Long John.
Yeah.
Do you plan on doing more things like that to get more views and bring? Because animation definitely is something that attracts people as they're scrolling through Instagram or Facebook. That movement stops people. Whereas a still photo, unless that still photo is very vibrant and very eye-catching, a lot of times people just keep scrolling over that. So do you think you're going to bring in more animation to what you're doing to attract an audience?
Probably not. Animation's hard. There's a reason why I didn't keep pursuing it. But I did that just to see if I still had any of those skills. And it was fun. And if I do anything, I might just keep adding on to that thing. But actually sitting down and trying to produce a finished animation, even if it's short, I don't know if I have the attention span to do that. It'd be too hard, and I should be making comics anyway. But it'd be cool to work with an actual animator and see what they could do. But that's every comic creator's dream, right? It's like, it'd be cool to see this made into an animation, even if it's short. But I mean, you actually did that, Karen, with that cool sort of overview of all the characters of your universe.
I did, and it was cool. Just seeing the movement and seeing everything that I envisioned now sort of coming to life was amazing. It costs a lot, but it did drive me to really want to pursue something of that nature. I mean, I grew up in the 80s and 90s where Saturday mornings were reserved for cartoons and cartoons only. You know, get your bowl of cereal, sit in front of the TV for 3-4 hours straight, and then once you're done that, go play with your friends. And it sparked something that I want to someday be able to just say, hey, let's turn Netflix on and watch my cartoon. You know, let's turn on YouTube and watch the newest episode that I dropped there. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure a lot of us as comic book creators or comicers, we all want something of that nature, either animation, a live action, or a movie of some sort. I know there are people out there who say, no, I'm just strictly comic books and comics only, but I'm like, that's BS.
Right.
We want to see what our dreams really are. Like comics are great, but they're not movement. And we want to see those things come to life because these are what we've been envisioning for years. And we want to be able to see that at least once.
Yeah. I think it ties to also the internal editor, right? Like we were talking about, what ends up on the page is like it's always better in our heads.
Mhm.
And so honestly, if someone else does the work and makes it happen, it'd be better than if we tried to do it on our own. So like I'd love to see it maybe animated or whatever, but like I don't want to do it. That's but someone with actual interest and skill in doing that would be better. But yeah, just seeing also, it come alive, because that's how we see, I don't necessarily subscribe to the idea of like I see the movie in my head and I write it down and draw it. I don't think that way, but there is more, when I'm composing a panel or a page, you do only have to choose one moment, right? Out of the infinite variety of poses and shots you can put into a panel. And like those other moments do exist in my head and in every artist's head, every writer's head. And it'd be cool to kind of see all of those options available as it's actually people moving on screen.
What makes you continue to make comics then? Because
like I said,
it's to, I don't want to say create an empire,
right.
but I want my characters to be out there and to be known. Is that a goal for you, or is that something that you're just not caring about as far as comics? Because you're a full-time teacher, so this is your side hustle.
Right. I make comics because, and probably I make comics for the same reasons I teach. It's that, and we were talking about this, like I'm an introvert. I like being by myself, but I also want to feel like I'm contributing to the world around me. And I'm not as interested. And there's plenty of other people doing this. I'm not interested in creating like my own publishing imprint or universe of characters. I'm just telling these small stories with the hope that at least one person goes like, oh, this is something that I'm into. This is something that I connect with. This idea is something that is put into a form that I can resonate with and use as an example to show other people of how I feel or how I think. Especially as a kid who grew up in kind of, especially where I grew up on the Central Coast of California, which is kind of, not super diverse, not very, it's I grew up in a place called San Luis Obispo, middle point between San Francisco and LA. And basically it's where all the people with money moved out of San Francisco and LA. They moved to San Luis. And it was as a kid in that kind of environment where we didn't go, it was a family that didn't go to church. I was an only child from a divorced home where everybody else was the opposite. Mm-hmm. I felt like really separate from a lot of that community. And now, even though I'm far away from that, I'm always still trying to connect and go like, yeah, I'm weird, but like we share a lot.
Yeah.
And, like I said, teaching does that obviously very directly, but comics, being a personal creative expression, was probably ultimately can be more rewarding if you find someone that just connects to you through this thing that you made. So that's why I do it.
I think what a lot of what you just said is very important. I think every creative medium can be boiled down to three things, especially like comics. Community, what you talked about, communication, because we all want to speak to other people, and then connections. Those we want to feel connected to other people. Right. And comics are a niche way of doing that. But I think I grew up in North Carolina. You guys are from Sacramento. Even though we're on opposite parts of the country, we connect through these stories.
Right.
And I just love that comics are able to do that. Movies do it. People who love the same movies, they experience that. But comics does it for people who grew up like us, and I love that.
Yeah. And to specifically answer your question, Karen, why make comics specifically? Why not do prose? Why not do animation? Why not do music? I just think I've learned that comicking is just the skill I have most developed to tell those types of stories rather than doing something else. And if I did something else, it'd feel like starting from scratch, right? And, yeah.
And one of the all right, Danny has a YouTube channel where he actually posts a lot of the sketch that he does. One of the things that he actually posted a couple years ago was a video from him at APE, which is the Alternative Press Expo.
Yeah.
But this was a couple years ago where they moved from San Francisco to San Jose.
Right.
One of the things I thought was really cool was during that whole video you did, you talked about how this new venue was set up in this tent in San Jose, and it was really cool. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. I was watching the video. And then I realized I've been at that tent before. And I was like, when have I been at that tent? And then it hit me. It was a few years before that. My wife and I went down to San Jose for a comic convention, and it was at that tent.
Yeah.
And the reason why we went down there is because Jim Lee was there.
Ah.
And that's where I met Jim Lee.
Nice.
And that's where I had him sign my X-Men #1 and my Wildcats #1.
Nice.
But it was a cool experience because I didn't bring my portfolios. Huh?
Do you still have those?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
I have those. I have Spawn #1 and Spider #1 signed by McFarlane. I have Youngblood and X-Force signed by Rob Liefeld.
I have the Mick Foley book.
I have Mick Foley signed, yeah. I have Infinity Gauntlet series signed by Ron Lim. I have a bunch of stuff signed by people.
You said that wrong. Infinity Gauntlet signed by my best friend Ron Lim, right?
My best friend Ron Lim.
There we go.
Yes.
There you go. That's it.
But you know, I thought it was really cool that you actually went to that location and just brought back memories.
Yeah, nice.
You know, Danny, you have to go.
Yeah, I got to get out of here. I wish I could stay longer and talk. This has been a great conversation.
Yes, bro. Yeah.
I got to get out of here though. I appreciate y'all, Dan, for hosting the show now,
Yeah,
taking over for Kyron, and you know, I'm definitely gonna read your books. I did order them.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
This show is starting to become like, hey, let's bring somebody on, and then I can buy all their stuff. And I like that.
I sent you the webcomic league. You didn't have to buy it, so you're just compelled now to buy it.
No, he does. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I could have read it all online, but you know, I like physical stuff. Man, it was so nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too, man.
Are y'all gonna stay on? Y'all gonna stay on a little longer?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I got nothing else to do.
All right, I'm out of here. I'll see you next week.
All right, man.
Thanks,
Next
man.
week. We're recording next week.
The week after next. Yeah, right.
All right. All right.
Later,
man. So yeah, going back to Jim Lee, I didn't bring my portfolio. The guy ahead of me was confident enough to bring his portfolio.
Yeah.
And he showed it to Jim, and Jim was like, "This is not bad." And he's like, "But this is what I would do." And he got a black marker, a black like Sharpie marker, and he started drawing on this guy's portfolio page.
Ooh.
Like directly on the page. And he said, I would do this angle. You have a helicopter here. I would draw this helicopter like this.
Yeah.
And I was like, flabbergasted at that point. I was like, as a creator, I was showing my portfolio. I'd be pissed off if somebody drew on that. But at the same time, this is Jim Lee.
All of a sudden, the page became valuable.
Yeah. So I'm like, do you get mad at that? Or
I don't know.
Do you get happy that you have a Jim Lee drawing? I mean, it's a sketch of a helicopter and some lines, but
right. I would end up by going like, hey, could you sign this, Jim?
Oh, he did. He signed it.
Oh, good.
He signed it, but I was like, huh, okay.
That's awesome. Yeah, that'd be weird, man. But I mean, if it's good advice, it's good advice. And hopefully he went and made assuming it's a he, went and made a better page, right? That person was Brett Booth.
So the reason I brought all that up because have you ever taken your work and shown it to editors or anybody to have it critiqued? Someone that's actually in the business and not just me.
No, I haven't. Because of crippling self-doubt.
I know all about that.
Yes. And so luckily as every artist is, I beat myself up pretty badly. But no, I haven't. And I think mostly it comes down to, at this point, I don't necessarily do it. Although if I did try to submit something to a publisher, I'd have to submit to the the notes of an editor, which is probably fine. They're trying to make a book get published and conform to whatever kind of output that publisher wants to make. But I don't want to go to an artist just for, art critique, because going back to what we're talking about here or what you mentioned at the beginning of being called a comicer, like, I'm not separating art from writing. It's all one thing. And so I'm not going to go to an artist necessarily and say, hey, fix my art, because what if that changes, the kind of story I'm trying to tell? And maybe that's me making excuses. I don't know, probably, but I haven't done it. And I think being a self-publisher, I will let the audience and market decide whether I'm doing something right or well or not, right?
Okay.
Plus, I think a lot of just art, and especially when it comes to comic art, comes mostly from just doing it as often as possible, and you get better over time.
Yeah, you can definitely get that. I mean, the more you're doing it, anything, the more you do it, the better you're gonna be. But especially with art and writing, if you're not doing it every day, at least every week, you're not gonna grow.
Right.
And that's good advice, man. Well,
yeah.
Yes, then let me ask, since it's just you and I now, because Danny has other things he had to go do. When the heck is Gek Force coming out?
Good question, man. The publisher I've been working with is dropping the ball all the time. Just too busy working on more successful comics, like, I don't know what's called, Zob.
Fucking ass, dude.
No, I mean, I would like to actually. Okay, we can get this on record. What I'd like to do, because I wrote like an outline for like 4 issues, 100 years ago.
Damn,
right?
dude, 4 issues.
Yeah, I sent that to you. Remember?
Okay, you're right.
And
I only remember it being like an issue or 2.
I think it was 3 or 4, one of the 2.
Okay.
But I think what I do, just so we can say that there exists something called Gek Force, is to do like a mini comic, like just try to do like 12 pages, right? And then we can say it exists and put that out, maybe put some sketches in the back, nice little collab kind of thing.
Okay.
I don't know.
I guess for anybody that's actually listening to this, if you don't know what Gek Force is, which nobody knows outside of ourselves and Chris Cinder, Gek Force was a collaboration that we did at the first event. Was it that first? Was that the first free comic day we did? Okay. The first free comic day, Dan and I met each other. We were sitting side by side and we were bored. And we just said, let's just create a random character right here at the event. And I don't know how it turned into gecko superpowered individuals, but we said we're all going to make a gecko related superhero.
Right.
And that ended up becoming Gek Force, a team not unlike Ninja Turtles, where they're anamorphic geckos who go around saving the world. And that has been on the back burner between the two of us, Dan and I, for 6 years now. I created G-Shot.
Yep.
Dan
I was Techo.
Techo, that's right.
Techo, something. Yeah.
Techo the Gecko, you called him. And it was cool. And we had Dan created outline. We have other characters. But this was going to be an all ages book, if I'm not mistaken, right? We weren't going to go too hard.
I don't even know if we discussed it that far. The outline,
I think in my mind it was all ages because it's a gecko.
The outline I sent was basically me trying to create a image launch title.
Yes.
Right. Trying to fit in with that crowd.
Although Image doesn't do really superhero stuff anymore anyway, so.
Oh, that's it was my inspiration, more than anything else.
All right.
So that's what I've been thinking about when it comes to Gek Force. I'd like to do like maybe a mini comic, just so we can finally say
we did it.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, did we go over what books you read this week?
No.
Okay. Right.
I didn't read any on the toilet though, so I don't know if.
Well, what book did you read today or this week?
Today.
At 6 o'clock in the morning, what did you read?
So the only books I've been reading, I've been reading a book about it's
a book without images drawn by somebody,
but it's a book about comics. So it's a book called I think it's called Akira Reimagining the Medium or something like that. It's put up by a publisher called Third Editions out of France, and so it's translated criticism. It's It's a French book doing a critical analysis of the manga Akira by Otomo, right? And
That's
it's
a
really
classic. Don't touch it.
no. It's just doing examining themes and examining sort of the history of it and where it came from. It's just academic criticism.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Sorry, you
so
wrote.
it's
You
not.
know, criticism.
It's not.
I was like,
It's not a review. But other than that, actually, the only other book I've been reading this week, I dug out of my long boxes the issues 10 through 13 of volume 1 of Wild Cats.
Oh,
because those comics are where Jim Lee and Chris Claremont hooked up again. Yes. And introduced the Claremont character, the Huntsman, I think his name. I read 2-3 issues of it. I don't know if I understand what's going on, but I don't know if it ever made sense, right?
It's 90s. It's 90s work. It doesn't really make sense as long as it had a lot of action, explosions, a lot of gear.
Yeah,
that's all it really needed for 90s work.
And it's been fun though. It's been basically I dug it out to see kind of modern, I want to say more modern Chris Claremont, even though it's almost 30 years ago. But
has he done anything recently?
He's done one-shots for Marvel.
Yeah, he did a X-Men Legends story, didn't he? Or am I thinking about Fabian?
That was Nicieza, yeah. And now it's the Simonsons. And he did a New Mutants one-shot a couple of years ago at this point. That was actually pretty good. But I'm like, some of it. Oh, and he also did the God Loves Man, X-Men God Loves Man Kills like director's cut, where there are some new pages put onto the beginning and end of it.
I have that one actually with Brent Anderson did their work on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did not like that because the colors they got did not do well with his artwork.
And Anderson's style has changed over the years, and Claremont's style has changed over the years. I didn't really like his writing on it, and so I'm like, has it always been sort of where was he in the mid 90s? And so I dug out those books, and they're fine. It reads like a modern comic at the time. But yeah, and it's just cool revisiting that old art, and Jim Lee was on fire back then.
Yeah.
So
there isn't too many times where Jim Lee isn't on fire, honestly. Right.
Point to all his DC stuff.
I mean, there's Divine Right was a miss.
But that was more story than art, what you're telling me.
Art was okay. It was definitely Jim Lee, but I just feel like he was. I don't think he really knew what he wanted to do with that book.
The only other thing I've been reading is I've done a reread through of Sweet Tooth because of the recent Netflix series, and so I just started the last volume of that. So I'm excited to wrap that up.
I still have to get through episode 2 of that. I still have not come back to it, and I really should. I've been on. I don't know. I've been trying to clear out my DVR stuff because it got to almost 100% full of recordings. So I was like, okay, I better start watching some of this crap. So now I'm going back and watching all of those DC shows that are on the CW.
There we go.
And I'm like, they did that to that character. Wow, they did that to Ruby Rose, huh? Okay, that's what they did. All right.
Yeah, whatever. That's off topic. But yeah, they got a new actress to play the same character, right?
No, they got a new actress to play.
Well, there's the new actress to play the main character.
Yeah, but it's a different character.
Right.
It's just
right.
But they did this character wrong because at least I haven't watched the entire season yet. I'm like halfway through.
Okay.
But the entire portion I've been watching, they're still referencing the Ruby Rose Batwoman.
Right.
Like they're like, we still have to go find Kate. We have to search Kate. We have to find Kate. I'm like, wow, that's so much disrespect to this woman that you just brought on. That the entire season is about still finding the actress she just replaced.
Right. I think I read something that they actually bring Kate back, but it's a different actress.
Well, thank you for spoiling that for me. Damn it.
Well, I just want to make clear that I knew they brought in a new character. I'm not that ignorant, even though I don't watch the show.
I haven't gotten to that part yet. Thanks.
Sorry, no problem.
All right.
The show likes spoilers. I think the show asks specifically creators for spoilers. So
about their work, not what I'm watching. All right.
Sorry.
I think that might be a good time for us to end the episode at that point.
Now that I hurt feelings and spoiled
Yeah.
TV.
Spoiling my half-ass
Well,
DC TV show. Although I do enjoy Lois and Clark, or Superman and Lois, whatever.
Heard good things about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to leave a scorched earth behind me whenever I come into contact. So there we go. Just bridges burned.
Thank
all
you.
that fun stuff.
I will never contact you again after this.
So finally. No.
All right. Well, since this is it, where can we find your work at?
You can find me at longjohncomic.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find me on social media. I think the most active social media is on Instagram. Find me at DBethel Comics. And you can find, there's a Long John page, facebook.com/longjohncomic. But all those links are at the website, longjohncomic.com.
Nice. And when can we anticipate the newest book coming out?
Probably next summer. So
Okay,
I'm about
2022.
halfway through drawing issue 5 or chapter 5, and plan to have that drawn by the end of the summer. And then once school starts up, I'll be spending those months coloring and lettering and getting books printed, all that fun stuff.
Well, I will be getting, was that volume 5, book 5?
Mm-hmm.
I will be getting it. I have my money saved. It's my allowance that my wife gives me. I guess I should do the stuff for Danny. So Danny, where can we find your work? Well, you can find me at fourthwallpros.com. You can find me on TikTok or Twitter, Instagram, the Ace Blade, at the Ace Blade at all accounts. But what about you, Kyron? Where can you find your stuff? Okay, well, you can find my comics at tauruscomics.com. I'm on Twitter and Instagram, also at Taurus Comics. I am on TikTok. Unlike Danny, I don't have 60,000 followers on TikTok.
Wow.
But I do love my 4,000 followers I do have. You can find me at Kyron49, KYRUN49. Again, you can, if you haven't already, please go to our website, fourtalespodcast.com. That's the number 4, TALES, podcast.com, and catch up on all our past episodes. We do thank everybody who has gone on to Apple, iTunes, and Spotify, and all the podcasting platforms for all your reviews. We have noticed uptake in those reviews. So, I mean, if you're a bad review, that's fine. I mean, we'll try to make it better for you, but thank you for anybody that's put down the 5 stars. Those reviews and ratings definitely help, and they mean a lot for us as podcasters to getting our work out to everybody in the world. And as my friend here, Dan, says on his podcast, through the magic of algorithms. Yeah.
Oh, I guess I should say also, you can find my podcast at forallintents.net. It's called A Podcast for All Intents and Purposes.
Nobody said you can plug your podcast on my podcast. What is going on here?
Unsubscribe from this podcast. Subscribe to my podcast.
No, please do. And I know we didn't get a chance to really talk about your podcast, especially Con Artists, which you and I both host. But do listen to his podcast if you're into the geeky culture things on a critical view of the geeky culture. Definitely listen to Dan and Andrew. They have a great podcast I listen to every week. But come back next week, or not next week, I did what Danny did. Come back 2 weeks from now, where we're going to have Specs Thompson, writer of Legacy for the View. We'll talk about his book. But until then, we want to thank you for listening to this podcast. Sayonara, goodbye, and please take care of yourselves.